Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto is Heartbroken Highschool DxD Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In a two-story apartment complex was sitting a 16-year-old teenager in the middle of his room. He was looking out the window to see the sun high in the sky means that it was about time for his day to begin. Sadly, he was supposed to spend it with his friends, but none of them had answered his call. Sighing, he quickly put on a button-up black shirt and some black slacks, white sneakers, and washed his mismatching hair. One side of his hair was purple while the other was red, making him look like a delinquent who just changed his hair to look different. Honestly, this was not his choice. He was literally born with this hair and never knew why. For him, he saw his mask on the table and sighed, seeing it was a black face mask that had razor-sharp teeth on the edges of it and the switch compartment that would allow him to chomp down with them and use his real teeth. You see, he was a ghoul, not the ones that are born from the dead or the vampire has bitten humans. No, he was a different subclass of ghouls. The truth of their origin is a mystery to this day. Most think they were human once upon a time and turned into this, others just say they were a cannibal race. Honestly, it was a question that no one had an answer for, but the boy didn't care. He just wanted to start his day. You see, Naruto Uzumaki, or at least that was his fake name in the human world, was not an ordinary ghoul by any means. No, he was the rook for his king Rias Gremry, the family that took him in as a young child. He had known Rias longer than any of the members. In fact, he was sure he was the first piece she ever got at a very young age. They were close as children, and in time he became close to everyone in the group when they joined over time. He became a brother to the Knight Kiba, a caring figure to the other rook Kaneko, and an older brother to the young and confused Bishop Gasper. Even with him locked up, Naruto got special permission to visit him on his off time, and Surzex, Rias's brother, and the Mao, also keyed him into the room. Naruto had a special bond with Gasper, as he would visit the damper from time to time, and in those times he learned about his desire to wear cute clothes instead of judging him. When he came out with it, he instead bought him a vast assortment of clothes on his birthday. The little boy cried tears of joy that someone was not going to judge him for his tastes. Naruto laughed, and said that he just wanted him to be himself, nothing more and nothing less. Plus it helped that he had tons of cash lying around from jobs he completed over the last few years, so Naruto was able to get Gasper whatever he wanted, from candy to clothes and even toys. He also told him he would find a way for him to use his powers better and get him out of this room soon. More so, he managed to convince Ajuka to find and whip something up due to him having been his science guinea pig for almost 3 years of his life, and he owes him for the time he went through those moments, even if they were very uncomfortable. While his times with the group were filled with pleasant memories in his past, lately he had felt forgotten by his group. He had noticed a shift around the time that Issei Hayato joined them. At first, Naruto saw him as a perverted teen with the only desire to build a harem of women for his own depraved pleasure, and it annoyed him. Kaneko was on board with his opinion of him not really worth the effort to maintain, or help build up, even if he had a solid sacred gear. Naruto could think of at least 6 people on campus more worth his time due to them being either powerful as a human or talented in their own right. Hell, they might even be perfect for joining the peerage if they did have a hidden sacred gear in their body. But no, Rias threw all of her eggs into the basket with him, and Naruto felt it was a foolish move and a dangerous one as well. Over time, Naruto just generally ignored Issei and his attempts of being cool, while also trying to keep his bonds with his friends. But sadly, they started changing too much. Rias began to spend more time with him, Akino started flirting with him, Kaneko and Kiba were training him from time to time. Over time, he went from having a welcome greeting to being forgotten by the group and just seen as someone in the background or when needed for something else. Naruto felt heartbroken about this. He thought their friendship meant more, but ever since the new bishop joined and it was revealed Issei had a Longinus gear, he was high on himself. He even managed to take Naruto's spot in the group, literally, and his seat, and this led to him fighting him for it. Rias punished him for it, saying Issei earned it and that he should know his place. Naruto was heartbroken and after this incident just stayed away as a whole. Kaneko never returned his calls and Kiba was too busy training for his ambition. On top of that, he was abandoned by Rias and Akino, who both started to open up to Issei more and more to the point that they no longer spent time with him outside school like they used to. Naruto looked in his mirror side, ready to spend his free day outside, knowing the group was busy at the familiar forest. But before he could make it to the door, he saw a silver teleportation circle and out it came a silver-haired woman with a lustful figure and silver eyes. She smiled at him with a small red-haired child wearing a fancy suit with green eyes. Naruto smiled at them, putting his mask back on the table, while the little red-haired kid ran into his chest, hugging him tightly. "Hey, Naruto and I. Hey, Millikas, how are you doing?" He smiled. "I've been good. Mom and I have a day off, so we decided to come and spend the day with you. Isn't that awesome?" Naruto looked at Grafia with a raised eyebrow. "He is right, Naruto-kun. We had some free time, so I thought the two of us could spend it with my other child. Is that alright?" Naruto smiled. "Nothing would make me happier, Ka-chan." She smiled and hugged her oldest child. Yes, Naruto was the adopted son of both Surzex Lucifer and Graphia Lucifuge, and the older brother of Milikas. The truth is that after he was found all those years ago, both took pity on the child and let him live with them for a while. In time he became close to them, and when Milikas was born, he started holding the child and crying at the sight of him. He asked if he could be his brother, and they accepted him while making him officially their son. While Naruto could not inherit anything, he was their child, and that was all that mattered. On top of that, Milikas looked up to his brother, and he was the one that he taught him how to walk and how to say his first word, which ironically was nay. Hearing this, both parents thought it was adorable since he was also the only one Milikas would not cry with other than Graphia or Surzex. Heck, the grandparents couldn't calm him down when he was younger, and this meant he was going to become close with him. So in time he became more and more their son, and very few in the underworld dared to call his lineage or race into question, especially in front of his family. Surzex had already killed 6 people for doing this, and some were high-ranking nobles. Naturally, there was outrage, but then he threw it back that he was king and that he only was protecting his child from slander, and thus they quickly shut up when offered to fight. Alright then, why don't we head into town and see if there are any stores you both want to visit on me? Milikas quickly cheered and dragged Naruto out the door, and soon Graphia followed in pursuit. In the town, the three had a blast with Milikas growing more and more amazed as he saw more of the human world for the first time in his life. Graphia was watching as her oldest was holding his hand and making sure he didn't run off. They ran into some anime stores and found stuff that Milikas liked for anime and manga, and in time they had 2 large bags of things for him to watch in his free time and read at the same time. Naruto eventually bought him an expensive model of Seraphul's figurine that was considered priceless. So with this, he more than earned his brother's affection since he really wanted the figure, but Graphia would not buy it for him. In time, they came home with more anime and manga stuff and the figurine, but also some food for them all to eat. While usually, ghouls could not eat solid food, Naruto managed to learn how to create a rune that allowed him to actually enjoy food while also sending it into a void that erases it. Thus he is able to appreciate a meal without getting sick to his stomach. Why don't you two go watch some anime while I get dinner started? I was thinking a small buffet of rice and assorted chickens and meat. Naruto smiled. Anything you make will be great, Kaa-chan. Yeah, your cooking is the best. She laughed. It was times like this she missed. When she could break her role for a little while and just be their mother. She rarely did this in public, but these were the moments she treasured. But another teleportation circle opened up and out it came to a red-haired man with green and blue eyes and wearing a white shirt and black pants. Tousand, what are you doing here? Milikas voiced what Naruto was wondering given their father was always busy with paperwork. Well, I heard that you 3 were here, so I decided since I got some work done early I would come and spend the rest of the evening with you. Graphia narrowed her eyes. Really? Yes, really. Look, Graphia, how about instead of reprimanding me for not being in my office, just let me spend time with my sons and you? I mean, when was it we had a nice quiet evening together? Graphia raised an eyebrow and sighed. He was right. This was the first time she could remember in a while they all were together without someone else being there. Fine, just this once I'll let it slide. But when we get back tomorrow, you have to at least promise me you will try to get more done. Don't worry, Ajuka and Seraphul owed me a couple of favors, so they are taking care of the excess work. They understand better than me. Underworld. Ajuka and Seraphul were sitting at 2 different desks going through paperwork. Seraphul was in tears, being guilt-tripped into this while Ajuka sighed. He hated his best friend sometimes. It's not fair. Get over it, Seraphul. The man never gets to see his family together. This is a good break for him. Besides, he is only making us do the work that relates to our fields. I know, but I want to see Naruto as well. I mean, he has gotten so handsome, I can't believe it. Huh, so you are interested in him? Seraphul smiled with the tears gone from earlier. Maybe, who knows? But I have to say, if not for Graphia, I might have tried for a date, but she is too scary. Seraphul shivered. While she tried to spend time with Naruto as a child, Graphia was never too far behind. Every time she turned her head around there, she was looking at her with dark eyes warning her to not try anything. Once she heard of a maid that smacked him for something and Graphia tore into the woman. Not only did the woman find herself moved to Lord and Lady Gremory's mansion, but she was severely punished for her actions with the sparring match. Last she heard, she still gets shivers and a cold whenever Graphia was nearby. Very true, plus I'm still doing some work for Naruto as well. After all, what godfather would I be if I didn't help him out with helping a friend? He remembered when he asked to be his godfather. At first he hesitated but eventually agreed. Naruto, unlike most, took an interest in his work and started to volunteer at his office from time to time when he was younger. Hell, to this day he still sends him blood to study, and even tells him of exciting developments that have come up. True, but she looked at her pile and saw it grew. How the fuck is this possible? Ajuka laughed until he saw his pile did the same thing and screamed in a fury. Naruto's apartment. Surzex was laughing at the thought of those 2 doing his work while spending time with his sons. He knew he would have to make it up to them, but for now, he was enjoying the peace. His youngest insisted they watch this anime about psychic children, and they see the world with more perception of their brains due to an accident. Honestly, it was not a bad anime, maybe pervy at points, but they were devils, they got used to that stuff. Eventually, dinner was called, and they gathered around the table with Surzex and Graphia sitting on one side and Naruto and Milikas sitting on the other. Before them was a large feast, and after saying grace, they started digging in. Naruto was eating and talking to Milikas about his training and his everyday life and earning his brother's admiration due to him being the coolest in his mind. Graphia and Surzex while talking about school and how things are going in the peerage, not that they knew the truth of his feelings lately, but still said things were fine. On the other hand, Surzex and Graphia were flirting back and forward, leaving Milikas to say you most of the night. But during their mealtime, Surzex found a small seal she had placed on Rias going off and shining bright red, so he sighed and got up from the table. Sorry, something came up, and I have to take this. Please continue eating, I shall return shortly. Surzex quickly disappeared while Graphia and her sons continued eating until Naruto noticed someone was missing. Kirara, where are you? Out of the shadows came a small two-tailed gold cat with a black diamond on her head and black eyes with the red scara. She had black in her ears and paws while also having black-tipped tails that hung behind her excitedly. There you are, girl. Naruto smiled at his familiar and saw her walk up to him and gave him a sad look. He smiled and summoned a plate to him and quickly piled up some of the fish and some rice onto her plate and set it down in front of her. She quickly dug into the food while showing the joy in her eyes to eat such delicious food. Naruto and they laughed as the little hellcat was eating the food without question and enjoying her personal meal. They continued this meal until Surzex returned into the room with a smile on his face, but it was strained. He looked at his wife and asked, "Can we talk in private for a minute?" She nodded his head and excused himself from the table, while Milikas wondered what is going on. But before he could get up, Naruto grabbed him and put him back in his seat. Just eat. But what about what they are talking about? I mean, aren't you interested, Nisan? I am, but that does not mean we have to eavesdrop. Humph. He puffed his cheeks out and soon went back to eating while they started talking about the stuff they were going to do in the future. The funniest thing is that when Kirara was done eating, she jumped up and sat down on Naruto's lap. She made herself comfortable and went straight to sleep. At this same time, both of their parents came back and enjoyed the rest of their meal. But about midnight, Naruto was ready to go to bed after putting Kirara into her personal bed in his room, but was asked to stay behind while Graphia quickly took a tired Milikas home. When she returned, they had him sit on the couch facing them. Surzex asked, "Sochi, how close is Rias and her new pawn?" Naruto frowned. "I don't know, to be honest." "Why?" They sighed. "Sochi, we found them spending the night together, and we were wondering how long this has been going on." Naruto tightened his fist. "Since he first joined." Graphia pitied her son. It was apparent to everyone that knew him, he loved Rias and the other girls. He would give his life for them, and that was one of the main reasons he even became her rook. One day hoping to prove worthy of her love, but after what she saw it might not be that way much longer. When she arrived to see her and her pawn, she saw the two of them in bed but her ready to give him her virginity. She quickly put a stop to that and saw her arguing about her getting involved in this matter. When she brought her back to her room, she talked to her husband, and they agreed to not tell him the truth about what was happening, just that they were spending the night. If he found out, they didn't know how he would react, but it would break his heart into pieces. Especially since the incident when he was a child, he had a hard time bonding with people as a whole. Well, that is unnerving. Would you be able to tell us more about the boy himself? Maybe how he came to become a member of the peerage, and at the same time what kind of person he was before being reborn. Naruto nodded his head. Of course, Tusan, from what I've seen of him, he has a Longinus gear known as the boosted gear. But other than that, he can barely fly and has no magical potential at all, to the point he can't even teleport. This shocked both of them. You mean he can't teleport even a short distance? No, I mean he can't do it at all. This caused Graphia to frown. Sacred gear or not, that is not something to invest in when building a peerage, especially since he is a pawn. How many pieces was he? Naruto sighed. All of the pawns. Surzex's eyes popped out of his skull. You mean she wasted all of them on him? He nodded his head, and he sighed. How is that even possible? Alive, he would be worth maybe 2 pawn pieces if his gear were not unlocked. She did it when he was dead. Mostly waiting for a fallen angel to kill him, and then recruited him to her peerage. Now this angered Surzex. He was unaware of the fallen angels were in the city that long. He only thought they just showed up so he would have to talk to his sister for falsifying the record at this time, and why Sona did not say anything. Anything else? Apparently the boy is a pervert to the highest degree. I mean not in the sense of like us, but I mean before and after he became a devil, all he talked about is having a harem. Having unprotected sex and never calling the women back, and even claiming that he wanted to have his women naked all the time. Graphia frowned. How repulsive, and Rias allows this to go on. I'm afraid so, Kasen, just because he saved this nun that joined us not too long ago. Wait, a nun? Surzex was shocked and fearful when his son nodded his head. Son of A. We're barely on speaking terms with heaven, and she goes and does that. What is she thinking? Disowned or not, she is still a nun, and this is considered a spit in the face of the angels. This could be disastrous if someone finds out. I know, Tusan, But since then the boy thinks since he defeated the fallen angels he can do as he pleases. He even took the spot on the couch I usually sit, and when we fought, he was let off, and I was punished for my actions. That is why I'm not at school for the last few days." Graphia comforted him with a big hug, pulling his head into her chest. He sighed. "I was told not to come to school for the rest of the week due to my attitude, and then I saw her smothering Issei with attention, while the nun and Akino were doing the same thing. As far as I know, she just now started training him." "I see. Well then, I guess I will talk to Rias after tomorrow about some of the things she has neglected mention to me." He stood up and hugged him, squishing him in between both of them. "Don't worry, son, no matter what happens, if you ever want to leave we can give you a new place in someone else's peerage. Hell, I think your mother would let you join her." She nodded her head, but he looked at them with a small smile. "I know, but I can't turn my back on my oath to be with her through thick and thin. Otherwise, what is my word worth?" Surzek smiled. "I know, son, but remember your health and your safety is first to both of us. So please, if you feel it coming up, let us know." "I will, Dad." "Well, I have to go. Paperwork and making sure our son is in bed and all." "I'll stay behind, Surzek. I would like to spend the night here." He smiled and kissed his wife while kissing his son's head and waving them goodbye. She looked down and saw he had fallen asleep in her arms and smiled, remembering when he would do this as a child. When he was younger it was adorable, and it made her the envy of the house, but now she could only feel sad for her son. If he ever learned the truth, then he would be devastated, and there was no telling what was going to happen. Their family was holding on to a thread, and one day she fears they would fall apart. Picking him up, she took him to his room and undressed him. Then putting him under the covers, she changed into her nude state and quickly cuddled next to her child. She soon fell asleep with her child clutching her, wanting to keep her warmth near, and she smiled, hoping this was not a bad omen for them. Next day, Naruto was packing up his bags and preparing the transportation circle. After having breakfast with his mother and spending time with her, he told her he wanted some time away from the city. He just wanted to go to the forest so he can train without someone bothering him at this point. Graphia said it was a perfect idea, best to get him out of town for a while and let him blow off some steam while he was at it. At the same time, to keep him and Riser out of the same room from each other since Naruto already tried to eat him years ago. On that note, he had ordered Kurara to go with his mother as well to keep her safe, give Milikas someone to play with, and to keep her fed while he was away. When Riser was harassing his brother Milikas for being in his way and not knowing his place, he had ripped his arm off and started eating it. From there, he quickly duked it out with the Phoenix child, but in the end, he almost killed the poor boy. This led to him shouting about him being put down until Surzek got involved and told him he was lucky not to be killed, explaining Naruto's status among his family and leaving things tense between the two of them. So after Graphia left, and he promised to call her as soon as he was there, and at least once a week he started packing. Mostly he was packing extra clothes, weights for his limbs, and some additional meals for himself. It was sets of preserved flesh that was left for him as a means to keep his cravings at bay and to keep him from losing control when seeing other people. He didn't have anything to counter his hunger, so when the time comes they always have someone that is willing to donate flesh or someone that has been a criminal and died and preserve their body so he could eat them slowly. He never knew who they were, it just made things easier for him knowing that he was only part of a process. Naruto arrived in the forest with his supplies and quickly changed into his sweats before putting on his leg and arm weights before he started his routine. He would do random exercises to help increase his movement with his arms and legs before moving on to practicing some hand-to-hand combat material he got as a child. He trained with people who were experts in martial arts and knew what it meant to be fast and flexible when fighting a physically stronger opponent and hitting them in ways others can't do naturally. This way they can't dodge the strike that is coming from an angle you practiced, and they are not used to. In time, he would get used to the weights and then up the pressure by magically enhancing them to weigh more and more over time, and he would continue on this routine and just keep training to the end. In a month Naruto was almost done with his month away and ready to return home. He had packed his bag and just finished off the last bit of flesh that was left for him yesterday. But before he could activate the symbol to go, he sensed someone behind him and quickly turned around with a roundhouse kick to the face. But the strike missed, and the person leaped backward away, standing a couple of feet away from him in the opening in the forest. "Good reflexes, kid. I'm impressed you sensed me and were able to react in seconds." Looking at the man, Naruto saw it was a blonde-haired man with a slant face that was smashed in. He had on a white suit with a red and black tie, and some white pants and brown shoes. The man was huge compared to most people he has seen, but more in the sense that he was a full person in size rather than being someone that was tall. He had his hands in his pockets and a smile on his face. "Who are you?" He laughed. "Name's Jason, kid. I was hired to bring you in." "Into who?" "Our organization. The boss wants to see you. Personally, I would just kill you, but the boss made it clear they want you in alive, so shame for me. I can't personally torture the shit out of you." He snapped one of his fingers, showing a golden claw that extends off the finger. "Well, then you can tell your boss I have no interest in dealing with you. Now leave. I don't want to kill you because I can't control myself when I smell flesh." He giggled at this. "Kid, you're 16, right?" "Yeah, why?" He smiled. "Puberty is a bitch, no?" Naruto narrowed his eyes. This is one of the reasons he wanted to be away from everyone. For their race, the only thing that is known is that puberty is the worst for them. While most races dealt with blemishes and sudden increases in power, then it is worst. The hunger for flesh becomes uncontrollable. The desire to kill becomes overwhelming and eventually consumes them until they had their fill. Plus there were some other side effects, but he was not sure what they were just yet and why they stood out the most among them. Had little time to ponder anything further after closing the distance on the man in front of him and throwing a sweep kick. The man leaped into the air and then landed far away from him before charging. He threw a right hook, but Naruto ducked under the strike and hit him in the stomach. But he took the shot and just kicked Naruto away. Guy hits like a truck. Got to dodge and move in ways he can't dodge. Naruto quickly got his balance back and leaped at him again while he shrugged his shoulders. You don't have too many original moves now, don't you? He threw another hook, but this time he missed when Naruto leaped over the extended arm and quickly slammed his head into his head. Jason went down to one knee before Naruto landed on the ground and threw a roundhouse kick to his head. This sent the large man flying across the field and into a tree. The man sat up, and he was bleeding from the top of his head and pulled out his special pliers. This led to Jason dashing at him with them and having them over his head before swinging them at his head, but Naruto just rotated around them and sent a side kick into his gut. This knocked the wind out of Jason before he grabbed the extended leg and swung him around and slammed him face first into the ground. This led to Naruto being slammed 2 more times while thrown into another tree. Naruto spat out some of his blood and growled while his eyes turned red and black with red lines. You're starting to piss me off, big guy. Oh, is it because you are missing your king's match? Naruto raised an eyebrow while getting out of the trees. What are you talking about? He smiled brightly and laughed. Your king is fighting right now, in a ratings game without you or remembering you. That's a lie. He smiled and pulled out a video and showed him a live feed of the match. Here is the proof that Phoenix Kid forced her hand and in a month challenged her to a ratings game for her freedom. But why did she dash? Because she had no other choice at this point. After your daddy interrupted her giving that brown hair kid her virginity a month ago, he wanted to start the marriage right away. But Rias disagreed to this, and soon they agreed to a ratings game match in a month. Ultimately, this is the final situation that could determine if she marries him or not. Jason charged him and slammed his right hand into his stomach, taking him off the ground before slamming his weapon into the back of his head. Naruto soon was face down in the dirt before he grabbed the back of his head again and slammed him into a still standing tree. From there he threw him across the grounds while his face skids across the dirt. Jason appeared next to him again and this time kicked him in the gut to get him off the ground. Next, he pulled him down on his knee, knocking the wind out of him. Naruto gasped for air, formed the strike, but this led to Jason punching him in the face with an uppercut. Naruto went sailing into the air, and then dragged back down with a vicious slam into the ground. He acted quickly and soon sat on his chest and started punching him in the face. Don't you get it, kid? You're nothing to that girl. Just a pointless toy that she strung around. She and the group did this to you because you are too dangerous to let running around. Your own so-called family lied to you, knowing that if they told you the truth that you would leave. This would mean they couldn't use you as a tool, a weapon. See the world that we do and know that nothing you do will change anything. You're a monster, something for people to use, feed on, and use for their own survival. He was laughing while Naruto's face that was mashed up from the punches soon started healing from the damage. Oh, you have your mother's power of regeneration, huh? Good, this makes me playing with you more fun. He then stood up and stomped on his head while continuing the torturous beating. But what he did not know is that Naruto was sitting in the middle of his mindscape. There he saw a red rupee standing in the background of a field of white flowers. In the middle of this was him, sitting there surrounded by the flowers while in the chair. Looking up, the boy's red eyes locked onto a purple-haired woman wearing red glasses and wearing a white/purple dress on her body and smiling at him. Hello, Sochi, do you see now? The world I warned you of. She floated behind him, the world that abandoned you. The world that used you. The creatures that only see you as a weapon or tool of use? Something to dissect and control? She wrapped her arms around his shoulders and leaned her head down and kissed his cheek. If there was one thing I never was I was not a liar. Someone that would betray you or mislead you down a dark path. Do you really have nothing to say to me, my son? Naruto quickly got out of his chair and pinned his mother to the ground. You have no right to call me Sochi anymore, rise. He looked at her with his red eyes staring back into hers. Oh, and those others have the right to call themselves their family? They did not betray me, Rias did. She took my trust and loyalty and tarnished it. And you are willing to give in to yourself? Go back on the promise you made? Naruto stared at her more before smiling slightly. She failed to keep her promise, so mine is void. She smiled. So then you are willing to abandon them? Naruto shook his head. No, I will support those that have stayed with me through it all. His mind flashed Surzex, Graphia, Milikas, Lord and Lady Gremory, Karara, and Gasper. I abandoned the ones that abandoned me. I will no longer hide from myself. Rise frowned. So you are willing to continue on as a devil? Naruto stared at her with tears down his face. No, the devil race did not deserve me. I will expunge those that are threats to my family, but I shall be what I am. What are you then? Naruto whispered, a ghoul. Rise smiled. I guess I can accept that, my Sochi. She pulled him close with him in biting range, but he hesitated. She felt the tears running down her neck and smiled at him and whispered, go on, embrace yourself, don't hide from your own darkness, and accept it, and you will find your freedom. Naruto waited a second before opening his mouth and biting down on her neck, never seeing Rise smile with pride and cry tears of joy. Naruto quickly ate her in the mindscape, while his hair started to fade into white. Naruto stood up from the gory mess that he made there and saw that he ate everything. Looking up, he walked away into the rook piece that towered over him. Time for you to leave. Naruto put his hand into a fist and slammed it into the rook, and within seconds it cracked from the strike. Then it finally shattered on the spot, leaving it nothing more than rubble. Naruto smiled. He felt his devil blood disappearing and his ghoul blood flooding his body. He spat up some blood and screamed in pain, feeling as if he was being torn apart from the inside. Every time he thought the pain in one spot died, it would pop up again and continue on as if it never stopped. After a few minutes in the mindscape, he finally felt the pain gone, and everything was normal, so standing up he looked around and saw the flowers were now red. He smiled. Time for me to eat. Naruto disappeared from the mindscape, not seeing something looming in the darkness and smiling at him. Consume, consume, consume more for me. Let me feast on the world and soon your soul. It laughed maniacally and disappeared into the out parts of his mind as if it was never there. Back in the real world, Jason was having the time of his life. He was throwing the brat around while also torturing him. Jason had pulled off his fingernails, but they grew back. He broke his fingers and toes, they would heal again, and he would repeat this process. After doing this, he would find other means of hurting him, be either ripping of limbs, or even just swinging him around like he was a toy in his hand. Jason then slammed him into the ground and then into a tree. Jason didn't understand why the boss was so interested in him, because he was nothing more than a weakling compared to him. I mean, yeah, this young ghoul landed some good blows, but after revealing his little king had not told him about this important day, he just broke down. It was too easy, and the boss wanted him alive, so he would have to stop playing with him. But if he was a regenerator, that meant if he ate him he might be able to beat him and gain that same power. Okay kid, I'm done playing with you. He looked over at the boy sitting in the shadows of some trees that were knocked over. He was leaning over the trees while his eyes were glossed over and showed no sign of life. The boss wanted me to bring you back alive, but now that I know about your little ability, I might just take it for myself. Eating you, it can finally give me the edge I need to finally defeat all those that look down on me. He snapped his finger again, and this time he had some kind of flower-looking tails coming out of his back with blue, red, and black pattern coming out. He then charged at him. Let me devour you and make me the strongest. Without a sign of movement, he was gone, and Naruto was above him. How when the hell did he get dash? He got kicked in the face, sent flying across the ground into some trees. Naruto landed on the field, but when Jason used his tails to clear the view, he was shocked. His hair was white now. Shit! 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 This is bad, he is already growing. His puberty has started. The hair is a sign if anything else. I have to kill him now, or he might just defeat me. Jason quickly snapped his fingers again and soon was covered in a hardened cocoon-like body with it covering his eyes and his nose. But the most striking thing was that he had his cocoon evolving to be like one giant tail, while also making his arm into some kind of red glove. Shouldn't have pissed me off now, kid. I'm going to swallow you whole. Naruto cracked his finger and smiled at this comment. He saw Jason charge him, slower than before, and use his one enhanced arm to strike him. But he dodged the strike before hitting him in the stomach. Jason didn't even flinch, but Naruto quickly sent a sweep kick to his legs, knocking him off balance before punching him again, this time in his hardened head. The power of the punch was greater, and this sent him flying across the ground. He stopped his flight and roared at him. Naruto just smiled. I didn't know that I was this strong. I will try to go easier on you from here on out. Jason charged him and threw his extendable arm at them, and within seconds Naruto jumped over the attack and then cracked his own fingers. Out of his back came 4 tentacles, and he quickly used them to pierce his extending arm to the ground. He then summoned 4 more, and these promptly pierced his chest, causing him to cough up blood. You know, Jason, you kept saying how tasty I look. Naruto looked at him with a maniacal grin. Maybe I should have a bite of you. His eyes widened under his helmet and broke off his extended arm before sending his tail after him. Naruto just walked around on his extended arms and just waited for him to make one mistake. It came when he threw his tail over his body and at him directly. Naruto quickly dropped from his high spot and had his tentacles reach out and pierce through his legs, forcing him to the ground. Naruto then dashed and leaped into the air before having his tentacles piercing his body and keeping him pinned to the ground. Naruto stared at him. Please don't scream, this would ruin my meal. Naruto leaned down slowly and quickly ripped a big piece of flesh from Jason's neck and started to dig his hands through his back to rip out his organs and drain the blood from them. Naruto felt him stop moving and quickly removed his cocoon from his body and started sitting on his back while slowly eating him piece by piece. Time skip. Graphia had found her son's signature. She had teleported here after not hearing anything from him all day. She knew he was supposed to tell her that he was home, but he did not call, so she went to the forest he was located. But it was sadly not until the game ended, and she felt guilty not telling Naruto. But every time she brought him up with Rias and the peerage, they brushed him off and started focusing on training Issei and Asia. Soon she gave up on saying anything and came out here to find him to see how he was doing and try to tell him everything that was going on while he was gone. But the minute she entered the clearing, she saw something horrifying. The whole area was destroyed or covered in blood. In the center of the circle was Naruto standing over some bones that had some blood still dripping off them while some skin was coming off the body. There he looked up and saw his mother, and she was shocked to see him covered in blood along with him having white hair. But what scared her the most was the fact that at his feet was his peerage piece of a rook. Naruto, what dash? Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? Rias was fighting Riser today. Why she was visiting Issei the day I left. Why you decided not to tell me. Naruto, we didn't tell you because we didn't want to hurt you. We knew the situation was weighing on you and that if we told you what your father saw we knew it would drive you over the edge. So you hid this from me for my own safety? Yes, but with Riser visiting, I thought you leaving would leave the confrontation between the two of you without someone dying before it happened. The game, the training they did, and the match itself, we couldn't reach you in time and tried to have Rias call you back. But she was busy. I know that is the same excuse she gave me all the time. He picked up his piece and looked it and smiled sadly. I guess this means my oath is void due to her breaking her promise. Naruto, you mean yes, I'm no longer a devil, meaning I can't be your child. I'm sorry. He threw the piece at her, but she let it hit the ground. She was now in front of him and hugging him tightly, and for the first time, releasing tears down his head, not caring blood stained her clothes. No, you are still my son. You're my child. You're Surzex's son, Milikas's brother, and Xiaticus and Venelana's grandson. Ghoul, devil, or not, you belong to us as a family. I swear that this is the truth. Naruto looked up and saw the crying figure of his mother, and just stared. Then he reached up to her face and touched her forehead with his, blood smearing on her skin, and smiled sadly. Maybe I am, but for now I feel that I can't think of myself that way. Things are changing, and if I don't do something I could hurt one of you, and that is the one thing I still won't allow to happen. Naruto removed himself from her hug and summoned a teleportation circle. I need time. When is the wedding ceremony? In a week. Naruto nodded his head and disappeared, leaving Grafia crying her eyes out in the field. Surzex would feel his wife's sadness and appear there. He comforted him and learned everything that happened, including his transformation. This meant the one thing they always feared: his puberty period has started, and there was no telling how long it would last or how dominant he has become now. From what Ajuka could guess, all ghouls go through this, and this would lead to them gaining tremendous power, and even the chance to unlock their hidden strengths and magical powers. But the drawback is the hunger. It could cause significant discomfort for the ghoul in question, and lead to big feeding frenzies. He feared the day this would happen, but he was angrier at himself for not telling his son more, trusting him, and being there when he needed him. Rias, she now had destroyed him, and his lies just added fuel to the fire. But he knew one thing: he would stand by his own child before ever turning a blind eye to Rias and her peerage again. One thing was for sure: the change was coming, and he was going to confront her with the consequences of her actions and force her to finally act like the heiress she claims she is. Week later, in the Phoenix Manor, the guests, the Phoenix family and peerage, and the Gremory family were watching a fight between Issei and Riser go down. The winner marries Rias, which Issei claims he would take the president's virginity, and this led to most glaring at him for such a disgusting discussion. Surzex just kept his opinion neutral on the outside and allowed the two to fight, and this would lead to them seeing him unlocking his balance breaker and charging the Phoenix heir to take him down once more. But they were not worried about the match, figuring that Issei had some reason to think he could win and beat Riser with the limited power he has now. Out of the shadows of the throne appeared a teen wearing a black cloak with the Lucifuge clan symbol on it. It covered his eyes, but it showed a black mask with teeth on it. He was wearing a tight black top and black bottoms that ended with black boots. His hands had fingerless gloves with the marking of the Lucifer family on the back of the gloves. Naruto-kun, it is good you could show up. The teen stayed silent watching the match. He didn't acknowledge his father, just wanting to measure the two devils in the fight. Issei wins. Issei wins. He has a cross in his hand, and thanks to his gear covering his arm with draconic scales, he can use the cross without hindrance, and even use the holy water with no trouble. He is basically using weapons of weakness against Riser and things he can't heal from. Have to give him that much credit for thinking this fights through carefully and when to use the weapons of choice. Yes, but he's still too inexperienced to face down a real warrior or devil in a straight-up fight. Naruto snorted. Of course, I never said it would work against an experienced warrior or one that is not clouded by arrogance. It only works for Riser due to his own blinding ego. After all, I know I can hurt him as well and even kill him if I please. Naruto cracked one of his fingers, and this caused everyone to flinch. Ever since Naruto returned after his time away 4 days ago on top of the month of training, they saw his personality had changed. He basically was colder to the people around him, barely showing any sign of love and care to the world as a whole. But Surzex could see that he was not angry at them for everything that happened and the lies, but more he was just uncaring about what happened. Grafia cried tears of joy and hugged him for forgiving them for their mistake, but he said Rias was not overlooked yet. The family agreed on this and asked what he was going to do. Naruto explained his plan along with the fact that he now no longer was tied to the peerage system. He didn't need to listen to anyone. He would answer only to his father and mother, and if anyone else tried they would not get a response. If they forced the issue they would find out how strong he has become since his puberty started. Arena. Issei landed a powerful punch to Riser's stomach, his armor destroying itself and ripping off Riser's shirt as the man staggered before grabbing Issei by the neck. How you get the scar on the stomach, bastard? I thought you said you could heal from everything. TCH, that monster did this to me. That freak had the gall to attack me when I was teaching that brat brother of his place. Not that it matters because they will soon see him for a monster, and something that should have been put down before it dares to devour the underworld as a whole. Dance hall. Surzex's power spiked, and everyone saw the fury in his eyes and the throne being erased while the floor was freezing up and the Phoenix family paling at the rage in both of their eyes. Grafia was wanting to get involved now while Surzex was going to teach him the meaning of pain. Lord and Lady Gremory frowned at how he spoke of Naruto and knew that the Phoenix family was going to take a severe hit from this and Riser's actions and words. Naruto, on the other hand, was looking at his nails. He saw they were well trimmed and at the same time imagining them ripping out Riser's eyes. Turns out he has developed a bit of twisted side thanks to him becoming a full ghoul again. Arena. Issei just chuckled at the fact and pulled out a bottle of holy water. Here is another one from me, he shouted as the water splashed on Riser's face. Transfer. Riser let go of Issei, screaming in pain as the water burned his face and then was punched by Issei, whose dragon arm held a cross and was covered in strengthened holy water. Dance hall. Naruto just ignored this outcome and started up his teleportation circle while leaving something next to Surzex on the ground. It being his rook piece and it sitting on a picture of him with Rias and the others as children with a message written on the back. Surzex turned back to his son and asked, "Did you do what you needed to do?" "Yes, I assure you, father. Gasper can go free now and I have given Ajuka what he needed now." "Goodbye, father. Mother, I shall see you soon, and tell Millikas I will see him sometime soon." He turned to the two of them and was glommed by them in a tight hug. "You always can come home, son, no matter what. We will always be a call away." Naruto smiled and got loose while keeping his circle ready to go. "I know, that is why I want you to tell Millikas to keep moving forward no matter what, even if the world turns against him, keeping moving forward, and I will always be proud of him." He then was gone in a bright light of red, and the announcement went out that Issei won. The two frowned and got ready for a weighty conversation with Rias and her peerage. Picking up the picture in rook piece, they looked at the back of the photograph and saw one word. In the Phoenix manner, Rias and her peerage were cheering. The fear was finally over. Issei, the newest pawn in the underworld, had done it. He had freed Rias from her marriage contract. Riser Phoenix had been a problem for them for years since Rias was born. All they heard was about how he wanted to marry her and bring her into his already large harem as another woman, while at this same time bringing her girls into the harem with them and trading the male pieces out for female members worth trading for in this case. This had been something going on for quite some time, and the group was concerned how much worse it would get even if they had until Rias was 21. That was the original agreement, at least until recently. Riser apparently gotten impatient and wanted to marry her sooner, thus pushing for her the wedding to happen quicker. So the agreement was broken instantly, and soon she was to wed at the age of 17. But this ultimately led to her fighting the argument and agreeing to a ratings game which she lost after he tortured Issei for several minutes into her surrendering the match to him. When the wedding was about to happen, Issei showed up shouting he would take her virginity and challenging Riser to a fight for her hand in marriage. Luckily Issei won the match, but in the very end he was injured badly to the point that he was laid out after the announcement. So when he returned to the hall, he was quickly taken into the medical wing of the Phoenix family home and treated. It was estimated it'd be about 3 days before he was fully healed to leave, and Riser was going to take at least a month due to the injection of holy artifacts and holy water into his body. However, things had been tense with Issei being out cold, and Surzex and Grafia were nowhere to be seen at the moment. More so since the two seemed to be doing whatever they could to avoid talking to them. Rias was noticeably upset about this circumstances, but her parents told them that things are complicated and they would get to them when then they could. 3 days had passed in the underworld, where finally they managed to get Issei back on his feet. But sadly, meeting Surzex and Grafia was not exactly a pleasant task. Well, more Surzex, since he was meeting them in the hospital room with only their parents standing behind him. "Rias, first I would like to congratulate you on winning your freedom." "Thank you, Nisama. Issei has shown great ingenuity and improvements since we last saw him a couple of days ago. I'm glad that he was able to assist you, even though this might cause some backlash for your actions," and what he shouted in the reception hall. "But I was being serious. Bucho's virginity was promised to me." Surzex sighed. This boy was something else. When his son said he was perverted to the highest degree, he had some skepticism to it. But it would seem that his evaluation was correct about him, along with the fact that he had no magical reserves worth mentioning. It made him wonder if he was not stern enough on Rias about making proper choices and bringing people in that would be useful and not be troubled down the line. Regardless, you should learn to think before you speak, young man. It can sometimes have more adverse effects on the people around you. That also includes actions that someone might undertake, and who they are hurting without realizing it. Nisama, what are you talking about? He glared at his sister lightly before the door swung open, and in the room was a furious Grafia. This scared the younger teens, never seeing her without a strict look on her face before. More so, she had tears running down her face, and she was giving off a very cold aura that seemed to grow ice around her feet. Surzex, Grafia, I'm dealing with this. She growled at him. Like you have in the past? Are you going to tiptoe over what has happened, or are you finally going to start treating her like the woman she is instead of the child? Surzex frowned, understanding his wife's anger and the reason for it. I'm going to take care of this, Grafia. Why don't you go see Millie? Cassie might want your time and affection. No, this shocked the room, Grafia refusing an order from Surzex. I'm not leaving until I give her a piece of my mind after what she did. Grafia, I promise I'm going to take care of it, but for now I'm ordering you to go home and stay there for the next few days while this blows over. She glared at her husband and teleported away, not without leaving the sign of betrayal burning in the minds of the teens in the room. Turning back to Surzex, he glared. Now what I was going to start saying is that you Rias have been quite the problem child right now. First we are going to talk about this falsified report about the fallen angels. But brother, I told you everything. Oh, then you are telling me they were only in town for the length of a few weeks then? Yes. He frowned. Then why is it that when I asked Sona and someone else about it they informed me they had been there for at least a month? Rias's eyes shot wide. Her friend sold out that she was lying about this. Her parents frowned at her lying to them without a good reason. Next, your reincarnation of the boy. While I understand your thoughts and beliefs of him being power, and the boosted gear is great, you should have settled on bringing him in while he was alive. Instead you revived him when he was killed, making it more expensive to revive him. But brother, it was the only way to get him without the fallen from coming after us or letting them know we are onto them just yet. Oh, and letting him die was part of the plan then? She nodded her head while apologizing to Issei, who said it was alright after a promise of some time. Surzex rolled his eyes and knew that his sister was going to try and worm her way out of this situation. Now about the nun, she is the same boat, but the case here is much worse. More on the grounds you resurrected a nun, someone that is still affiliated to the church or has connections to the church as a whole. As of this moment, this action caused me to rethink your ability to make rational decisions on your own. But her gear dash means nothing. He was showing his aura, now showing his true anger. Your actions have now put me at odds with the church, and it is going to take everything to convince them that this was not means to slap them in the face. We will decide on this later, because while I hate doing this, your bishop is free to leave his chamber. Really? Yes, more because he now has a device that is going to help him control his gear, and you have a decent amount of control of your peerage minus the pawn. Dad will take you home. After all, I've got work to do and more importantly a wife to console. Make no mistake, Rias, step out of line again or lie to me again and the consequences are going to be worse than they are now. He teleported out of the room, and this left Xiaticus to teleport them home to the ORC room. From there, Issei asked, I didn't know you had another Bishop Bucho. Yes, I've had him longer than all the other pieces in my peerage. But due to his sacred gear I was not able to control him or keep him in our group. Okay, but does that mean they are another beautiful girl? Issei's imagination was running wild thinking about having another pretty bishop to have in the mix. Xiaticus snickered, thinking how funny this was about to be. They found the locked-off room and opened the door, and soon this led to a room where Gasper shouted, No! In the room the group saw a blonde-haired girl in the school uniform sitting in the corner, cowering at the sight of them, and with pointy ears. On top of that they had short blonde hair and pale skin. No, go away, I don't want to see any of you. Everyone, this is Gasper Vladi, my bishop and damper. Oh, she is cute. Asia was gushing over Gasper, but then Kiba dropped the bomb. Actually, she is a he. Issei felt his world shatter. No way. They can't be a guy. He is wearing girl clothes, but girl clothes are cute. Issei started raving. This caused the poor teen to back into a corner in fear. Come on, Gasper, it is time to come out of this room. I know you have a way to control your gear. No, hey Bucho said, leave, that is what you are going to do. Before he could make a grab for him, he heard something growling at him. Turning his head, he saw a small blonde and black fur cat feline with two tails hanging behind them. Huh, what the hell is that? Oh, it is so cute. The cat growled at them and had fire coming off its paws and out of its mouth. Xiaticus held the group back. Don't agitate her. Her? He nodded his head to the bishop and motioned for them to back away from her. Especially after he saw the tears in the feline's eyes and knowing that it must know that her father was gone and left her here for Gasper more than anything else. What is Kirara doing in here? Rias was shocked to see Naruto's familiar here without Naruto being around. In fact, this reminded her how harsh she had been to him a couple of days ago, and made her want to apologize. It was just due to Issei having the boosted gear she felt it was necessary to keep him willing and dedicated to her. But it would seem this plan worked well, but only to the point that she was sure he was willing to do anything she said as long as he got something off her in the end. I just fought a guy that produced fire. What makes you think I'm scared of you? He reached for Gasper, but before they could stop it, Kirara was on top of him. But she had gotten larger, to the size of a large mountain lion. She stared at him before showing her fangs and roaring in his face. Issei freaked at the sight of the big scary cat monster, but Gasper said, "That's enough, Kirara, come back." The cat looked at him, and then back at the boy before turning back into her kit form and hopping into Gasper's awaiting arms. Kirara turned her head, shaking with anger in Gasper's arms. Flashback. Kirara blinked. She was about to take a nap in her basket at home when she was in Gasper's room at Ko Academy. She smelled her father, and turned happily to see him, but she was worried when she saw him. His hair was white and his eyes were cold. He wore a strange cloak and different clothes to what she remembered him wearing normally. His magic and scent had changed enough to be different but stayed the same for her to recognize it was indeed Naruto. Gasper was in front of Naruto and Kirara, grasping his arm which had a new bracelet on it as he cried. "Papa," Kirara thought, with a squeaky voice, as she looked at him with her big eyes. "Why did you summon Kirara here? Papa is going somewhere and I need you to stay with Gasper," he said to his kitten. Kirara tensed. Did Kirara do something to upset Papa? Naruto shook his head as he placed Kirara on the desk nearby. "No, Papa is going somewhere dangerous and he does not want you to get hurt. Which is why I asked Gasper to look after you until I return." Naruto pet her head as she started to tear up. "I'll be going now. Take good care of her, Gasper," Naruto said to his little brother as he hugged him. "I will," Gasper shouted as he clung to Naruto. "I will, thank you." Naruto released Gasper and started to leave, but felt a tug on his cloak. Kirara had entered her large saber-tooth battle mode and bit his cloak and pulled him back with tears in her eye. "Please," she begged as she looked at him. "Take Kirara with you, Papa?" "Kirara doesn't want you to leave." Naruto turned and pulled her head into a hug, stroking her head. "I can't take you with me," he said again. "I can't risk your life being taken from me. So please, be a good girl and protect Gasper for me in my stead." "Kirara will." "Kirara promises Kirara will, Papa," Kirara said as she let go of his cloak as she nodded into his hug, reverting into her kitten form and clung to him until he handed her to Gasper. As Naruto stepped aside and activated a teleporting seal, Kirara let out a high-pitched cry of anguish that broke his heart and Gasper's as he too started crying again. End flashback. As you can see, little one, that is Naruto's familiar Kirara, and she is a hellcat. A powerful feline species that is rare to find, let alone tame one. Naruto and the familiar master found her mother when she was pregnant with her and nursed her through the whole situation. Sadly, she died giving birth, but Naruto took Kirara as his own and soon became her father, seeing her first everything, first fish, first real steps, and even the first time she made a fire attack. He was there and at the age of 6 was more mature than most adults. "Whoa," Kirara growled at the group while ignoring Kaneko. As a Nekasha, Kaneko had the ability to communicate to most feline creatures telepathically. But Kirara was blocking her out of her mind and making it clear she wanted to not talk to her. So moving on from this, Rias remembered Naruto. "Speaking of my rook, where is he? He is in so much trouble for missing everything that has gone on for the last few days. Indeed, President, maybe I can offer some punishment to him, fufufu." The group backed away from the sadist queen, but Zeoticus growled. "Rias," she looked at her father and said, "Your brother mentioned that he hoped you were happy regardless of the consequences. Well, here they are." The consequences. Out of his pocket he pulled out Naruto's rook piece and a picture with the message on the back. Rias was shocked. "Naruto's dead." The group starting freaking out, and Issei was frowning. Yeah, he didn't like him for having the affection of most of the girls on campus, but he didn't want him dead. "No, he is not dead. You see, while you were off giving your virginity to Issei and having the meeting with Riser, Naruto took off and did some training in a nearby forest. From what I was told by Graphia, he was attacked the same day as the ratings game match. From there, he fought another ghoul that wanted to eat him, but he managed to kill him and devour him. Sadly, it seemed that his piece came out of his body, and thus he was a full ghoul again and going through his own puberty. But why didn't Nisama say anything about this? He can be classified as a stray devil. He can't, as technically Naruto is no longer a devil, thus him leaving has no consequences. From what I gathered after you punished him and the fact that you abandoned him for most of your time with Issei and Asia, he grew more and more distraught. I understand you wanted to make sure they were ready when the time comes, but you all could have been there for him when he needed you the most." "I agree, Rias. You left my brother in the darkness and distanced yourself from him." Gasper was crying while having Kirara licking his face to try and calm him down. Sadly, Asia realized that they were part of the reason he left, and started crying from this. Kirara sensed the pureness of Asia's heart, and how she was really distraught. "Gasper," said Damper, looked at the cat in his arms as she looked back at him. "Take Kirara to the blonde girl. Please?" Gasper looked at Asia's crying form and nodded. He walked over, sat down, and tapped his senpai on the shoulder. Asia blinked and saw Kirara being held out to her by Gasper. Kirara touched Asia's forehead with her paw, and patted her there a few times, like a mother to their child. There, Asia blinked. "Papa is probably mad, but Kirara can't see him being angry at someone as pure as you for a long time." Kirara wiggled and then landed on Asia's lap before she snuggled into Asia and Gasper, comforting them both. However, Kirara growled whenever anyone else got near her, and showed she was not having anything else today from them. Only Gasper and Asia deserved her company. Regardless, Rias, your brother has to negotiate with the others devils of the Underworld and the angels in the hopes of appeasing them. Starting today, though, from me and your mother, we are ordering you to not leave town. You are to stay here and train all of your peerage and not just one person. In a month's time we might lift the ban, but as of now, no more contracts, and no more calling your brother for favors or ourselves. Also, fair warning, don't bother Grafia, she is consoling Milikas, who has just found out Naruto is gone, and is furious herself. I don't understand, why are they upset? I mean, he is just someone that works for you guys, right? Zioticus shook his head, and out of his wallet he pulled out a favorite picture of his. It was a younger Naruto at the age of 6 holding a baby Milikas and Grafia and Surzex sitting behind them with smiles on their faces. They had this picture made for his anniversary with his wife and to show they appreciate everything they have done for the both of them. From there, Naruto became his grandson after his adoption, and Venelana was one of the main figures in his life he went to when he needed someone. As you can see here, Issei, Naruto was more than just Rias's rook. He was Surzex and Grafia's son and the brother of Milikas. While not blood, they loved him like family, and so do I and my wife. Keep this in mind when you speak about him, because you can find out that many have been killed for talking ill of him. Issei paled. He knew what he was, and to hear that even Riser, the guy he barely defeated, was beaten by him painted a nasty picture. Not only was he strong on his own, he was protected as the child of the leaders of the Underworld and his wife. After saying his piece and finally seeing the group realize what they have done, he decided it was time to go home to his wife and talk about what they are going to do about the territory. On top of that, Rias was crying, Akino was crying, Kaneko was crying and sitting on the floor as if in pain, and Kiba cried, feeling like he betrayed someone that was there for him since the beginning. In time, the whole group was this way, wondering what the next meeting with Naruto, if ever, was going to be like and how much he has changed during this time. Month later, unknown location. In a hidden facility in an unmarked location in Europe were several members that used to work for the church. Sadly, they were excommunicated due to their actions and research. So they went underground with it, and continued their work, but recently they heard rumors someone was looking for them. Naturally, they believed their facility was protected since no one other than a handful of people knew of its existence. Sadly, this did not last long when one of their scouts went missing, and rumor was that he was found dead in a nearby town, having been eaten by something in that general direction. Then front door that guarded the facility was a giant metal door that stood several feet high, and had titanium alloy to keep others out and them in. At the door were 2 men carrying light swords and 2 handguns in their back pockets. Both groups were staring off into space. But then they heard a thud at the door. Looking, they saw that someone was trying to get the door open or tell them to let them in. So they went to check and see who it was on the other side of the door, but before they could, they saw the door was being ripped open. What the hell? Quick, sound the alarm. The one that was closest to the secondary entrance ran to hit the red button on the wall. But before he could reach it, he heard his friend screaming and then the sound of flesh being pierced. Turning around as he reached for the button, saw a person in a black cloak with the gloves on their hand with the mark of the Lucifuge symbol on it. He turned to him and pushed the button before pulling out his gun and firing. The person dodged the strikes and within seconds had kicked them in the neck, causing it to break on impact. At this same time, sending them crashing into the wall with a vicious thud. His hood fell back a bit and revealed a white-haired teen underneath with a black mask with long teeth. Naruto was admiring his handiwork for a quick second before he started walking to the door, hearing the alarm blaring in his ears. Intruder! All units report to protection stations and prepare for war. In God's name, we must protect this facility. Naruto sighed and just cracked one of his fingers before walking through the door to see 4 men standing there with holy rifles. Take him down! They opened fire on him, but Naruto quickly had his Kagun activate and block the bullets. Then he spread the arms out and quickly sent 2 to impale 2 of the men through the chest. This led to him keeping the 2 tentacles in place while swinging around the men, sending them crashing to the ground. Is that best you got? He stared at them with boredom while his eyes changed to their red and black color. The man paled and quickly pulled out his own pistol. Kill the ghoul. Kill the abomination of the church. Naruto narrowed his eyes and quickly sprinted at them. From there he snapped one man's neck by spinning his head all the way around. From there, he leapt into the air and smashed one of the men with his heel, causing his skull to break on the impact. From this point he threw one knife strike through his chest, holding him in the air. Weak. He saw the man with the pistol aiming it at the back of his head, but he had his Kagun lash out and impaled him on the spot. Idiot, I had those out. Did he think I couldn't control them at will? Turning down the hall, he heard more shouting and men rushing to his position, so he sighed. They always want to do this the hard way. Wonder if they will die out before they figure out they can't win. He then walked down the hall with his Kagun pushed back into the back of his body. Upon turning the corner, he saw a sign on the wall that read, Project Corpse Queen. Naruto raised an eyebrow. This must be what they were protecting. So following the sign, he walked down the hall and checked to make sure he was heading the right way. Which was obvious to him since they kept coming out of the woodworks and attacking him to stop him in his place. All Naruto did at this point was summon his Kagun and impale the chests of the fools that got too close, while also slamming others into the wall or breaking their faces with a single-placed punch to the face. Other times he had his Kagun cut them in half with a single well-placed slice, and he kicked some in the chest, sending them into the wall only to be followed by his Kagun to run through him, and into the wall. Following this wipeout, he reached a door on the right and read the sign that said, Living Quarters. Opening the door, he was surprised to see most of the men and women in the facility gathered there with their guns aimed at him. He smiled underneath his mask. Greetings. I'm here on the orders of the Lucifuge family. Could someone please tell me what Project Corpse Queen is? One of the women to his right shot at his head, but the minute the bullet hit his head, he just turned to her. Was that supposed to hurt? She was shocked. Impossible, all unholy beings are affected by GH. Naruto shut her up with him, shoving his Kagun down her throat and flinging her into the wall with a thud. Now that was rude. I'm not unholy, just someone handed a hand he didn't want is all. Back to my previous question, what is Corpse Queen? If you don't tell me. He cracked one of his fingers and out of his back came 4 more tentacles, each aiming at the people in front of him with 5 arms in total. You all get to be my next meal, your choice. Go to hell, monster. Die, monster of the Lucifuge family. He must be the son of that whorish woman that married Lucifer Head. Naruto saw red. Now they crossed the fucking line. Fuck letting you live, you just signed your death warrant. Naruto quickly had his mask open up and leapt into action. From there, he started slaughtering the group without any hesitation. In 10 minutes the entire room was painted red from the destruction he had unleashed, while also having devoured some parts of the bodies that he managed to keep intact. TCH, disgusting filth, not even worth my time. Naruto walked out of the room with his Kagun back in his body while proceeding down the hall. After walking down the long hallway, he managed to find the room he was looking for and hit the intercom. Hello, who is this? Rick, is that you again? I swear if you interrupt me again. The man let the threat linger while Naruto just stared at the intercom. Sorry to break it to you, I'm not Rick. I'm someone that would like to ask you some questions about your little Corpse Queen project. The line went dead for a minute before he heard shouting. No. I refuse this. Quick, where is the rest of security? If you are talking about the people in the living quarters, they are dead. Impossible, nothing can do this. Naruto sighed. Melodramatic this one. Look, how about you open the door for me so we can talk, or I can rip them open, your choice. Fuck you. Naruto took his finger off the intercom and put his hands on the 2 sliding doors. He then pushed them open slowly while hearing the machine struggling against his physical strength. Upon the door being completely open, he felt a bullet hit him in the stomach. He grunted from the pain and saw the bullet lying on the ground. Shit, no! He then fired another round, aiming it at his head. Naruto moved out of the way of the bullet. He kept dodging the bullets until he heard the gun click, signaling it was out of bullets. Now then, how about you tell me, Dash? Naruto looked and eyes went wide. Well, not what I was expecting, to be honest. Sitting there in the middle of the room was a cage that was about the same size as one of the giant jungle gyms that you see at parks. From there, he saw inside of the prison was a white-haired woman with red eye and black ciliria, along with an introverted one sitting there with a dull look on her face. She was wearing a white kimono that did not hide her generous bust and showed them that she was a natural beauty. However, he noticed that she had a jagged mark going down from one of her eyes and she had white hair to match her pale skin. Corpse Queen, I'm guessing? The man smiled manically. Yes, compared to the other races, we humans have always had the short end of the stick when it comes to powers and skills. So we decided, instead of allying with the church, we could find a way to resurrect humans in a similar manner that you filthy devils do. It was a success. Look upon the first true immortal known as the Corpse Queen. The very creatures that is going to help us in our war effort to wipe out you damn devils. Naruto laughed lightly from this comment. Interesting theory, but I wonder if she is hungry? Without warning, he slammed the man into the prison, drawing the attention of the girl inside of the cage. She looked up and saw the man that was torturing her and experimenting on her for so long was sitting there on the cage in front of her. Their masked teen about her age was holding him in place, looking at her. So you want to have a piece before I decide to take my bite? He showed his razor teeth, and this caused the man to freak out, seeing that this devil was also a ghoul. The girl known as Corpse Queen approached the cage and without warning dragged the man through the narrow slots of the cage. How she did it is a mystery, but she did it while breaking his arms in the process. Without a chance to act, he felt his mouth covered in a tight grip before she smiles evilly at him. In this time she starts biting into his throat, ripping it out, and within seconds was spraying his blood and organs. She was devouring him, and Naruto whistled. It seemed she either hadn't eaten anything in a while or was just a messy eater to begin with. Soon the cell was dyed red with blood and guts. His bones were the only thing left of him lying on the floor. From there, he grinned, seeing the satisfied look on her face before turning neutral, seeing him again. So got a name? Naruto leaned against the bars with his Kagun coming out of his back, distracting the poor girl. I do not know, they call me Hokuto, but I'm not sure if that is my real name. Hokuto, fine, that is what I'm going to call you from now on. Very well, Naruto-sama. She walked up to him, still dripping blood from her clothes and her hands and face. You are Naruto-sama, my master and leader. Wherever you go now, I shall follow you until the end of time. Why, you are free now, you can go wherever you want now. She tilted her head. I have no interest in doing this. All I want is to serve you now. Naruto sighed. Figures this would happen sooner or later, kinda reminds me of Mom. He quickly ripped the cage door off with his Kagun, leading to her leaving the cage. She bowed to him, but he quickly summoned some clothes that were female. He threw them to her, and she looked at them for a second before understanding what he wanted her to do. Without waiting, she dropped her bloody outfit, and this left her naked, forcing Naruto to turn around while she got dressed. Yes, he got used to things like this growing up with the Gremory family and his mother, but he was not in their presence. More, he was doing this out of courtesy for an apparently dim-witted or simple-minded girl. After she put on the tight-fitting white kimono with pink rose petals, she quickly followed him out of the facility, but the minute they got to the entrance, Naruto saw someone leaning on the doorframe. Got to say, you are every bit the rumors said you were, ghoul of the Lucifuge. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Standing there with a cocky smile on his face was a black-haired teen with a white headband covering his forehead, carrying a sword at his side and wearing an all-black outfit with a cloak including some fit slipper-like shoes. Who are you? Name's Yu Hakusho. I'm here to see if the rumors were true. If they were, then I would like to test you myself. He threw off his cloak, revealing a black shirt and bandages on his right arm up to his upper bicep, and pulled out his sword and aimed it at him. Naruto narrowed his eyes at him, while Hokuto just stared in boredom. This guy was strong, but she was not sure he was stronger than either of them. Didn't matter, she couldn't be killed by normal means or magical means, so it didn't matter to her. I have no interest in fighting you. Too bad. He was gone in a blur and brought a slash down above his head. I do. Naruto just jumped out of the way of the slash. While dashing in the air, he was approached by Hai again. He aimed his sword in a downward slash but missed him again, with him dashing to the right. They continued this pattern with him just slashing widely at Naruto, but he was dodging, either moving one way or the other or just jumping above the strike. Naruto soon managed to close the distance with Hai and slammed his fist into his face, sending him crashing into the wall. Are you done now? Obviously you're fast, but you can't reach me. Naruto felt him behind him and coming down in a straight move to cut him in half. But he missed when Naruto kicked off the ground and spun backwards, slamming his heel into the back of his head. Naruto stood on top of his head, leaving him growling at being hit like this. Naruto felt his foot missing his head and him standing at the entrance again. A ghoul that slaughtered over 100 people in a span of month while leaving nothing behind but the ruins of at least 4 facilities in his wake. More like 3. One was connected to each other, making it 3 facilities that I was destroying. Doesn't matter, I need to see if your skills are really up to par. He dashed again, and this time Naruto just waited for the sword to close in on him from above. The minute it was inches from his face, his Kagun came out and broke the blade in an instant. This shocked Hai. While the sword was not indestructible, it was made of some rare demonic metal, making it difficult to break on the spot. I see. Hai appeared across the room from him and saw the Kagun flowing behind him slowly, just waiting for him to try something. Well, I have one last thing I want to try. Hai threw his broken sword to the side and held out his left hand. Naruto watched as a brilliant orange flame engulfed Hai's hand. He was put on edge of these flames immediately. Fist of the Mortal Flame, Hai said as he charged in and was right in front of Naruto. Naruto's tentacles went to attack Hai, but were burned instantly by the Mortal Flame. Damn! Naruto thought as Hai went to punch him. Squelch, splash of blood. Hai stood still as he looked at his target. Hokuto had pushed Naruto aside and taken his Mortal Flame punch to her stomach, and it went into her, burning her body from within before he ended the technique. Hokuto grabbed Hai's arm and proceeded to punch Hai in the face. That is for ruining my gift from Naruto-sama, Hokuto said emotionlessly as blood dripped out of her mouth. What? Thanks for the save, Hokuto, Naruto said calmly as he regained his composure. But are you going to be alright? No problem, Naruto-sama, Hokuto said as blood stained her kimono. It is a flesh wound. Hai sighed, removed Hokuto's hand from his arm and pulled his hand out of her. The rumors are true, Hai said as he walked over and picked up his cloak as Naruto helped Hokuto stay balanced as her wound started to heal. So why did you want to fight me? Like I said, I heard the rumors and wanted to test you. But another reason is that I wanted to hire you for a job. Oh, yeah, it is something I can't do myself and need a team to help me out with. Nothing more than you being the distraction while I sneak into the facility the other way around. Huh, why would I do this? Would you believe me, it is a facility that has connections to this place, and the rumor is that they have more special demons sealed there. Naruto turned to Hokuto and remembered what she looked like in the cage inside. Fine, where is this so-called facility? It is in the middle of the ocean on a small island. It is heavily fortified and rumors are they hired some serious muscle since you've been wiping them off the map recently. Understood, so we go with you, kill everyone in there, and then we go our separate ways? Yes. Is one of these special demons someone you're trying to save? He frowned. Not exactly, you see in my life I was born in odd circumstances. But let's say that a sibling of mine is there, and I want to save her from danger. Fair enough. You'll tell me more when you're ready. Hai was surprised most would demand more information, but it seemed he was comfortable just helping him out. He smiled. Maybe this guy was not as bad as the rumors made him out. Especially since he is walking out of here with one of their little weapons. Soon the 3 of them went into detail of the facility, and how they were going to get in, and what to expect. In a far-off facility in Russia, a teenage, white-haired girl, she was holding the corpse of another girl. Please wake up, please don't leave me. Grab the next one, we need to see if she is more compatible. Yes, doctor. The white-haired girl was grabbed and held down to the ground. The other researchers took the purple-haired girl's body and quickly took it to the disposal chute in the room and dropped it down there. Shut up. She was hit with shock batons and forced into face-down position. God's work has no need for the weak, and your friends were just that weak. You are going to be the one that helps us please God. The man smiled dementedly, and the girl thought, I'll kill all of you. A god needs nothing more than to wipe out the sinners. Embrace me. In the shadows of the white-haired girl's mind was another woman with white hair, but her golden eyes were watching with mirth. She smiled sinisterly, awaiting for what is to come. Small island in the ocean, lab, hick, it hurts. A girl said as she held on to her cellmate, crying. Why does it hurt so much? There. The other girl said. It will be all right. A clanking noise was heard and drew the girl's attention. Come along, you two. The head scientist said as he had his men go in and grab them, getting an angry glare from the older of the two as they were forced to their feet. I'll kill you, the older girl said as the younger whimpered. The scientist laughed and smacked her outside her head. After all the trouble we went through to get you to Yaminate, I won't let you kill me, he said as he left, being followed by his men and the two girls. In the middle of the ocean there was a single boat crossing the water to arrive at a hidden island far off the coast of Spain. From there, the boat was that of a small transport ship, but the difference was the blood splattering the windows and floor. Corpses were littering the cabins with their limbs being scattered all over the place. Standing at the helm of the ship steering was Naruto, wearing a new mask on his face that he just completed a while back. It was black wrappings around his mouth that gave the impressions of a wrapping, but at the same time he had sharp fangs in the mask's mouth. It went down to the bottom of his neck and up to where his ears were, while at the side, he had his fox mask hanging off the side of his head. Next to him was Hokuto with a blank expression, was eating the arm of one of the people that owned the ship. She had the same look on her face from before and was just enjoying the peace and solace. The only thing that annoyed Naruto was that she refused to see herself as a free person again. More, she was someone that belonged to him as he saved her life. So, she would be his willing slave in all but name, and this annoyed him. He knew that most devils would kill for something like this, but after years of being a devil and seeing the abuse that most of these that have blind devotions go through, it left a bad taste in his mouth. But he just let her have her moments, and did his best to care for her while dealing with his own fractured and distorted psyche. Behind her, looking over the railing through some binoculars, was Hi. We are here. Naruto raised an eyebrow. This really the site of the research facility your sister is being held at? He frowned and handed the binoculars to Naruto, who stopped the ship and let themselves float under the cover of darkness and rain, peering up at the island research site. Maybe last I heard they had her here. Meaning that the best bet I got is getting inside of this place and looking through their files. Naruto nodded his head before looking at him with the binoculars at his side. So, what is the plan? Hai pointed at the left side where there was a dock. We are going to split up. I'm going to take the rear of the facility. Hopefully while doing this I can find the files, or at least the head researcher, to tell me where she is. He then moved his finger to the other side with the dock. I need you two to do what I know you can do best. Slaughter everyone inside. If that is not enough incentive, I heard rumors they were capturing a rare race of demons known as Yaminate, and are holding them hostage. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Yaminate, one of the rarest and most dangerous race of demons in the world and considered by many the most neutral. They have never taken part in conflicts and avoid confrontations while blending into human societies with the greatest ease. He heard that most are female by rights and that male ones are even rarer. If they really did have one or two at the most in their possession, he needed to break them out as soon as possible. Okay, so we get in and just kill our way to those two? Hai nodded to his question. Yeah, but I heard some information from one of the guys you killed that they had found and hired some stray devils and priests to help. So be careful, we don't know how powerful the enemy at this point, and given what you've done to most of their sites, they are doing what they can to stop you. Naruto nodded his head before putting his mask on his face. Let's get started. Dock. Two guards on the docks were playing cards waiting for the last ship to arrive at the port. They were carrying some supplies for their research site, and yet they were running late. 2 hours, seriously, what the hell is the hold-up? The second guard sighed. You've got to remember there is a storm going on. Yeah, but it should not take 19 hours to get here. The guard sighed at his partner's irritation. Look, don't worry about it. He turned and saw a ship coming to the dock. See, the ship just arrived. The other guard threw his cards down, showing he had nothing special in his hands, while the first guard had a royal flush. When the boat pulled up, they saw the ship was quiet. Strange. Most of the time the captain greets us. Yeah, the first guard aimed his gun and slowly walked around the ship. He walked up to the bunks in the bottom of the ship, but upon arriving there he saw something horrifying. The entire room was covered in blood, and before he could turn and shout at his comrade, he found a dismembered hand hitting him the face before dark red eyes rushed at him. He shouted and shot a few rounds, but in the end all that was left was a crunch and a loud munching sound. Come on, man, what's going on? After hearing the gunshot, he figured the guy must have saw something that spooked him, so he didn't give it much thought. But before he could pull out his cigarettes and light it up, he found his cigarette gone. Looking around, he saw it was a white-haired woman holding it in her hand, looking at it like one would if they were unaware of what it was. He realized this woman was not meant to be here, and she was covered in blood, giving him the worst feeling. So, taking his rifle, he aimed it at her head. Sorry, Mr. Corpse, you were in our way. Mr. Kodash, his head split down the middle along with the rest of his body, leaving him bifurcated. Hokuto looked at the corpse with boredom before putting the cigarette in her mouth to play around with it. But Hai took it out of her mouth before flipping it into the ocean. Smoking is bad for you. She tilted her head. But I'm already dead, so why should smoking bother me? Regardless, it is a nasty habit, so don't pick it up. Hokuto actually displayed her cheeks bulging, showing her pouting. Naruto walked off the ship, his mask and clothes having stains of blood on them. Now then, shall we get started? Hokuto nodded her head while Hai smirked. Yes, I'll be on my way. Remember, Hai, I know if I find anything in there that relates to their other facilities or who is providing for this, I will get it for you. Naruto nodded his head and saw him disappear in a blur. At this same time, Naruto was walking up the dock to the front door of the facility with Hokuto at his side. Are you sure we can trust Hai, Naruto-sama? Naruto glared at the large doors in front of him. No, I don't. Honestly, I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him. However, he has kept his promises at this point, so we don't have a reason to distrust him yet. But still, if the time comes for it, we shall kill him, no worries, otherwise the enemy of my enemy is my ally. I don't get it. Naruto laughed a bit and pat her head, giving her a sense of purring. In time you'll understand, I assure you. Naruto snapped one of his fingers, releasing his Kagun, and it slipped between the slits in the door. He then forced them open with nothing but brute power while looking at what was in front of him. Why is all evil research facilities so white inside? I don't know, Naruto-sama, but I think we have trouble. She pointed to the blaring red light in the upper corner and sighed. Well, time to get started then. Naruto glared ahead, hearing the sounds of footsteps rushing at them. Remember, Hokuto, kill quickly and efficiently, don't leave behind stragglers or let them run away. Afterwards we can have some of their corpses for snacks. Yes, Naruto-sama. Men wearing heavy armor came around the corners and aimed their M4 and other weapons at them. Halt, intruder! Naruto bowed to them. Greetings, I'm your executioner today, Naruto Lucifuge. May I know where you guys have hidden the Yamanate today? Open fire! Soon a hail of bullets came whizzing at Hokuto and Naruto, but they quickly dodged the bullets, as if they are in slow motion. Keep firing, men, we can't let them GH. Naruto had punched the commanding officer behind the soldiers in the face before having his Kagun rip him in half. Taking the other two arms out, he impaled 4 men on the tails while Hokuto was just using the slightest slashes of her fingers, cutting them in half. Some were cut to the point of their bodies being in halves or cut off from their waists and leaving them crawling on the ground. Naruto would come around and use his other Kagun arms and impale them in the back and head, killing them in an instant. When all was set and they were all dead except for one man who was shaking and losing his mind, he quickly threw his gun to the ground and ran, but Naruto did not let him get away, grabbing him from the back of the neck and slamming his head into the ground. You look tasty. Naruto moved his mask to the side, showing his eyes. I would love to just eat you alive right now. The thought of your flesh in my mouth is tantalizing. He licked the man's neck, getting him to freak out more and scream. Please, someone help me. The intruders are not human, they are monsters. Naruto frowned. You torture other races and experiment on them, and I'm doing what nature wanted me, and I'm a monster. Pot meat kettle, asshole. With a quick flick of his wrists, he turned his head completely around, with there being a sickening crack. Naruto stood up and wiped the blood off his hands on his clothes before shouting, Hokuto, let's keep going. Hi, Naruto-sama. Naruto dashed down the hall, seeing more and more armed soldiers here, while some had crosses, making him grin. This was just too easy for him. On the other side of the facility, all the scientists were gathered there and hiding out in their labs and offices in the hopes that the guards killed the monsters attacking them. Some wanted the monsters at least in one piece so they could research their bodies and maybe create new weapons from them. But for now, they were all wondering why they were in this situation, with the head researcher doing everything he can to find more information about the intruders on the security camera. There's no doubt that is the monster that has been destroying our research facilities, and at this same time, Corpse Queen. Why are they here? This is an off-the-books research site. There is no way they could know where we were unless some leaked the information. Even then, that is only a handful of people that could possibly do this, or someone just knew where to look. He heard the voice and turned around abruptly. Who the hell are you? Standing there was Hai, and he smiled. Oh, me? I'm one of the few people in the world that was able to find this site. I'm also partnering with those two to take this place down. He frowned. But more importantly, I have a couple of questions that I want answered. Guard, someone is in here, come quick. No one was answering. You're all alone right now. With most of your security force dealing with my friends, I was able to kill the others with great ease. Fuck you, monster. He pulled out a pistol in his coat pocket and aimed it. But Hai had disappeared and was now standing behind him with his sword at his side. I have a couple of questions for you and you're going to answer them, otherwise this is going to be very painful for you. The scientist growled and dropped the gun to his side for now. What do you want, monster? Hai smirked. First, I wanted to know where the Yukiana is here. The scientist raised an eyebrow and laughed. You fucking serious? You came all the way here to find that useless piece of shit? Oh man, what a fuck hhh. Hai dug his sword into his arm and started twisting it in the fresh wound. Mock her again and I'll take off an extension. Now, where is she? The bitch isn't here anymore. We sold her to a different facility. Where? The man smiled and pulled his gun, aiming at Hai's head. I'd rather die than tell you. He felt his head falling and hitting something solid. He noticed he was facing the mysterious man's feet and was able to put it together far too late. Good to know. Hai leaned on the nearby computer and sighed. So you're not here, huh? Oh well, I guess that means I have to look elsewhere, but don't worry, I will save you, unlike our bitch of a mother. Turning to the computer, he started typing in some words and found that the computer needed a keycard. So, taking it off the scientist he killed, he was able to open the system up. Inside of the system, he saw something that disturbed him. Note from the organization? Who the hell are these guys and what is their connection to this? While Hai was digging for more information about the facility and the people that are probably supplying it, Naruto and Hokuto were having a bloodbath. Naruto had slaughtered several of the people inside of the facility with ease, and Hokuto was using herself as a human meat shield. From what he was able to see, she ate the bullets up in her body, and they soon came out, falling to the ground, and the wounds started sealing themselves up within seconds. After she recovered and they started reloading their guns or realizing they are out of bullets, they quickly retreat in a matter of seconds, but she was hot on their heels, butchering all the poor idiots that dared to get in her way, while he only killed the stragglers or those that are still breathing. Soon they arrived in a wing that was listed as a 3. So, entering the room, they saw standing in the center was a man with brown hair, black eyes, and he had a deformed body. His left arm took the shape of a demon with claws with blue skin, black horns growing out of his head, and a spade-tipped tail. Naruto knew who this man. So, this is where you were hiding, Hideki? The man glared. You know of me? Naruto snorted while he walked into the room, and Hokuto feasted on the corpses behind them. Not hard to know about the man that raped an heiress of a clan, then murdered his peerage members, and the king, which happened to be the sibling of the woman you tried to rape. Honestly, there is a special place in the next life for freaks like you that get off forcing yourself on women. The man growled. You think you're special? It's a lie. Every one of those devils is just using people like you and me for their own selfish purposes. I agree. Hideki was shocked by his admittance. The difference between you and me, though, is that I accepted who I was and bypassed the normal problems. Doing this gave me a second chance at life, and something I covet more than anything. Yeah, but you being a child of that asshole Surzex helps, doesn't it? Or are you still the barking dog for his little whore of a sister? I would take her and dash, he coughed. Looking down, he saw a red tentacle piercing his stomach. I hate loud mouths. Naruto then cracked his fingers again, and another tentacle came out of his back and quickly wrapped around his neck. For the record, I was adopted into the family, and thus I'm a member of Surzex's family. He is my father, and I am his oldest son. He has told me between him and his sister he would choose me, as I've proven myself more times than she has. Naruto wrapped the second tentacle around his head and started squeezing him. This came out in muffles, and he was begging for his life while Naruto laughed a little. It was too easy to deal with someone like this. Also, while I might have been a dog, at least I was a loyal dog until the very end. Unlike you, Naruto's eyes were red now and glaring at him. I would never dream of doing what you did to innocent people. With one more snap, his tentacles crushed his head to the point it exploded and flung him against the wall with a loud thud. Naruto sighed. This was too easy for him, and he knew it. The man didn't even have the chance to show off whatever magical power he had before this. Not that it mattered in the end, because he was going to be coming out on top of this either way. More so, he had a new source of food, and most likely he was going to be facing another person with similar powers to this stray. Or at least he is going to be facing stronger enemies soon if what he can gather is true. Walking over to the corpse, he started eating it, and for the first time he felt an odd sensation in his stomach. It was as if something inside of him was reacting to the flesh he was eating. So, eating more of the flesh, he then feels his body tingling all over and his mind going into overdrive. Hokuto watched as Naruto completely devoured the corpse, leaving nothing behind other than some bones and missed flesh that he ate around. But in shock, he saw him grunt and soon release a powerful scream that shook her to the core. From this point, his magical power skyrocketed to that of someone at least on the tier of most mid-level threats or beings. On top of that, she could sense that he had a new form of magic flowing in his body that was unique to the person he ate. Naruto-sama, how are you feeling? He smiled. Great. Nothing feels out of place, to be honest. Stretching out his senses and the flow of magic in his body, he summoned some kind of white liquid. Looking at it closely, he smelt it, and realized that it was not a liquid but actually a metal. Naruto-sama, it would seem that you have mercury in your magic arsenal now. Indeed, but to know how it works is a mystery. There they are. Naruto turned his head and saw more guards coming at them. Well, at least I have some fresh targets to perform this on, but seriously, where the hell are they all coming from? I mean, we have probably wiped out half of the facility by now, right? I believe so. Hokuto watched as Naruto summoned more mercury to his side and fired some of it as a spear or piercing spell. From there she saw that most of the men firing at them shot at the attack, and it did nothing to it. The attacks pierced their bodies and anyone that was stupid enough to stand too close to them or stand directly behind the person in question. Next, Naruto releases the mercury on their body in its liquid form, letting them ingest some of it into their body. While the soldiers could feel something coming from this magic attack, they thought nothing of it. Soon aimed again at the intruders, but most were falling over feeling very sick. Well, it would seem that this works both as a poison and an offensive weapon of many means. Naruto smiled, watching the men falter and die while looking at the magical metal that he summoned to his side. Let's see what else I can do with this. Main control room. A man wearing a white coat and glasses while having his blonde hair going down his back in a ponytail was freaking out. Seriously, these two are killing everyone. I have to do something. I can't let the chance to experiment on Yaminate let alone two passes by. Don't worry. Standing there were two men, one riding the shoulder of the bigger one. The smaller one smiled and licked his lips. Before our time is up, we'll have dealt with these pesky intruders, showing that Surzex should have sent someone better while giving him his head as a present. The man in question had long curly hair and pale skin and black eyes. He was very scary looking by all means, and on top of that he had his eyes trained on the two in question, wondering how he could break them down and torture them without trouble. The other man had short black hair, black shades, and a green jacket and pants on. You deal with the girl and I'll take the ghoul, the smaller man asked. Are you sure? Yeah, I have a strong immunity against magic, so this shouldn't be a problem for me. Okay, then I'm off to kill the whore. The skinny man walked out of the room while the bigger man focused on the screen intensely. Why are you the center of all interests? Taguro. Turning to the scientist, he saw the man pointing at him. If our facility falls, we are all going to be trouble with that bastard from the fallen faction. Don't worry. He pat the man on the head before snapping his neck with a single place strike. You won't have to worry about failing now. All that is left is to test the boy and see if he is up to the task. Naruto was walking through the facility still. He had managed to root out most of the enemy and was growing bored. While he was not asking for a complete slaughterfest after killing about 50 people in the last hour, this felt like agonizing torture for him. Suddenly Naruto's instincts kicked in and realized something was coming up from the floor. Hokuto, move! She quickly did as instructed and ran to the opposite side of the wall, and saw a large metal wall appeared. She, not seeing Naruto-sama, quickly punched the metal wall but saw it was not breaking down. In fact, she tried to put some of her magic into the wall to make it erode away, but it failed. You okay over there, Hokuto? Yes, Naruto-sama. However, it looks like the wall is made of some kind of anti-magic metal. I can't get through. On top of that, I see that my hall now is leading me to another route. Same. Listen, continue forward, but be careful. We have no idea if they have things here that can permanently injure you in a fight. I know, master, and rest assured I will continue forward until I can see you again. Naruto's sweat dropped. He was more concerned she would be reckless in a fight instead of focusing on what is in front of her. Well, keep moving forward, and when the chance comes, start tearing through the walls and find me again, okay? Hokuto punched the wall, signaling she understood the order. Naruto turned back to see his hall lead to a room that was listed as main chamber, meaning that whatever was there for him. He knew that someone must know they are here at this point. I mean, given that he didn't make it a secret what he was doing to the people in this facility, but still they knew where exactly he was in the hall, and how to separate him from Hokuto made him nervous. The worst part, Naruto was being forced into a specific direction, meaning that he did not know if he was walking into an ambush of some kind. But with the mercury magic he picked up, he felt like he at least had a better chance against whoever he comes across down the line. Naruto continued moving forward until finally reaching a large pair of sliding doors. Entering the room, he saw it was a big open space. In the back were two girls. One was about a teenager with long pink hair and red eyes with horns coming out of her head. The other was another pink-haired girl and with horns and red eyes, but she was more about the same age as his brother Milikas. However, he could notice they had some kind of magic around them preventing them from leaving, and thus making him nervous as he saw the magic was going to the man standing in the middle of the room. He was a tall, imposing figure with tan skin, black glasses, a green jacket and jeans, and he had short black hair. This man was tall, at least 7 feet if he had to hazard a maximum height. The man was looking at him with boredom in his eyes, but he could sense this man was not some normal human. There was something almost demonic to him, and he could not place it. So, you showed, good, I was hoping it'd be you. Naruto glared. What are you talking about? You were just waiting for me? The man nodded his head before walking over to the other side of the room and picking up something. He threw at Naruto, who smacked it across the room and saw it was a corpse. Someone I should know. The man shrugged. Maybe, he ran this facility and is the one that was paying me to protect it. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Kind of counterproductive for a mercenary to kill his employer without ever getting paid, no? Taguro stood there and stared at the child before smiling slightly. He could barely make it out. You're right, but I'm not doing this for the money. He took his jacket off and threw it across the floor, staring at the teen. I'm in this for a different reason. Until I achieve it, then nothing else matters to me. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Interesting, but what about the two girls behind you? He snorted. They are Yaminates, rare monsters among rare monsters, given that the only sightings of them are listed in the single digits. Rumor is that these two are stronger than most of their kind due to their special ability to make their hands invisible. I see, and that is why this place bothered to capture them then? He nodded his head before the man frowned. While I don't approve of what they did to them or the other demon they have locked up here, I can at least understand their desire to keep them here at all costs. Naruto growled and bared the teeth of his mask. There is no excuse. They are treating them as caged animals, no worse than them. They are experimenting on innocent children, and you are telling me that you understand. The girls were shocked by the passion in the teen's voice, but the older one was still on guard. I understand what it feels like. Everything around you is stronger than you and desire power more than anything else. He suddenly started to bulk up a bit. Naruto could sense his power was increasing to higher levels than he expected. I do as well, but the difference is that I didn't use others for sick experiments to achieve something that could be done with hard work and training. The man laughed at that. You know, you're right, kid, but at the same time I made my demons and I have to sleep with them. He then took a wide stance with his fists to his side. Now shall we get started? Naruto growled and started producing some mercury around his hands and beneath him. This guy is dangerous. I better make sure that he doesn't see all the skills right off the bat. Let's see how well he responds to magic. Before we start, might I get a name from the man I'm going to kill to save those two? Toguro. He then dashed at Naruto, showing shocking speed that left him nearly speechless, but Naruto, still on instinct, reacted by lashing out with the magic. This led to spears to form and aim at the man's body, but without warning he smashed through the attacks and punched Naruto in the stomach. It was like being hit with a baseball bat to the stomach, and this shocked her. He was stronger than expected, but he still knew one thing: power carries only so far. There is an opening in everything. Naruto coated his fist with mercury and punched him in the jaw, getting some to enter his body. Naruto leapt away from the man, but he quickly was back on him and threw a kick at his body. Naruto jumped over the kick and drop-kicked him in the face, sending his head backwards. Soon he landed on his feet, throwing another mercury-covered fist into his face. Naruto settled for throwing more and more punches with the mercury covering his fist, and then blocking or ducking Toguro's wild swings. However, in time Naruto ducked a roundhouse kick and punched him in the crotch. That was low even for a monster. Naruto was shocked he was not affected by this, but soon ate a brutal knee to the face, sending him flying backwards. Naruto flipped in the air and landed on the ground holding his now broken nose. He shot some blood out of his nose and then glared down the man. You're stronger than expected. The man snorted. I agree with that sentiment, but I know what you are planning. Naruto raised an eyebrow. You're using the poisoning effect mercury has on people and planning on making sure I ingest enough that it breaks down my body and causing me to become more and more poisoned over time. That eventually I'd die from the exposure. Naruto raised both eyebrows. If you knew, then why did you take those punches then? He smiled. Due to my own demonic blood I can't get poisoned easily, and I'm more immune to poisoning thanks to ingesting things worse than mercury. Due to the small doses that I took into my body, I was able to create a body that is able to stop most poisoning. Naruto sighed and withdrew the magic. So, magic really won't work here then? Naruto smiled. Good, then this would be boring if I didn't get the chance to really fight someone with everything I got. Toguro smiled. Same, fighting someone with everything that I have is the most exciting thing in this world. He took a stance and soon his power went up again with his muscles bulging out more than before and stared down the teen that is in front of him. However, you are going to need to do something special to beat me, boy. My powers might not be impressive or versatile, but increasing my size and muscles is more than enough to defeat anyone I face. Naruto smiled at this, and then his eyes changed with him snapping his fingers, summoning 4 arms out of his back. Believe me, I'm special enough to beat a demon like you. The two stared down for a few seconds until finally they blurred, standing in the center of the room, now throwing punches that were colliding and causing the floor to crack under them. Naruto was growling. He was stronger than any other monster or demon he has fought before. He roughly estimates that he is as strong physically as his father's pawn Beowulf. Naruto saw, however, he was slower than him, so ducking under his next barrage of punches he swiped his legs. From this point, he jumped in the air and with his tentacles pierced his skin and pinned him to the floor before coming down with a vicious double foot stomp on his chest. Naruto soon sat on his chest, punching him in the face several times, leaving him more indented into the floor. However, the man stood up calmly and grabbed Naruto's left arm and swung him around before sending him crashing into a wall. Naruto pulled himself out of the wall while forcing his tentacles to form a barrier in front of him to take the next strike that sent him back into the wall. Soon the bulky man continued this barrage and Naruto was not allowed to move even a little bit. Damn, he is stronger than I thought. Got to do something. But before he can think, he was hit in the stomach, showing he had managed to get around his barrier and was in front of him. He then landed another powerful blow to his stomach and another, and another. The blows continued. Naruto could feel his stomach turning to mush but healing and then turning back to mush. The process was frustrating and the pain was almost unbearable. Looking up to the man, he saw the face of Jason, his sinister laughter haunting his dreams. Naruto's mind spiked and soon his body moved on its own. He grabbed Toguro by his face and ran him into the opposite side with his head buried into the wall. Naruto's eyes were dark red still, but he was starting to grow something over his face similar to another mask of some kind, but it was skin-tight looking. Naruto continued throwing a barrage of strikes at the man, causing the wall they were against to crack from the pressure of the power. At this same time, he kneed him in the face before throwing a hook to his head and then an elbow to his nose, breaking it. A roar came out of him, and soon he slammed his head against Toguro's head, sending him back bleeding from his forehead. Naruto ended up throwing more and more punches with his skin mask starting to cover more and more of his face while seemingly turning more animalistic. The barrage ended with Naruto throwing one big punch that broke the wall down and sent Toguro flying out of the building into the raging waters below. Naruto panted from the exhausting feeling he had and felt the mask itself rescinding back over his hair and face, and soon felt his body collapse from the tough fight. Before he could hit the ground, he was caught by the little girl and her friend who set him on the floor. Thanks. The little one smiled. Thanking you for saving us, Aniki. Naruto smiled and pat her head. It was no problem. I hope I didn't scare you with my ghoul skills. She shook her head and started rambling how awesome it was to see him fight the way he did. Naruto focused on the other one who was smiling at the child but glared at him. Thanks for saving us. She turned back to watching the child react some of the fights and Naruto smiled before frowning, worrying how Hokuto was doing now. Hokuto's side of the factory. After being separated from Naruto, Hokuto proceeded deeper into the facility in the hopes of finding a weak spot in the wall to join up with him again. But sadly, it seemed that all the walls were reinforced with something that prevented her from punching through them, and even stopped her magic from affecting it as well. The biggest problem now, though, is she was facing someone she had not seen before or could really sense. It was a pale-skinned man with light brown hair going down his back and dark eyes. He was smiling at Hokuto and wearing a blue suit jacket and gray shirt and some black long pants. She could sense that he was strong but not stronger than anyone in the sense she was in danger, so she started. Excuse me, I have to find Naruto-sama. The man giggled, then impaled her body with sharp fingernails that extended out and ran through her. She coughed up some blood while seeing he hit most of the parts in her body that would leave her immobilized. Well, sorry to tell you this, Missy, but with my brother dealing with him, I doubt he is going to be saved by you. More in the sense, I know for a fact you can't defeat me given that I already have the upper hand in this fight. He then removed his nails, letting her body fall to the ground with a thud. She was looking at him with a calm expression, but he grinned darkly, knowing he could fix this expression. Tell me, can you feel the fear overcoming you? Not really. I see a weakling that has to pick on others to make himself seem better. The elder Toguro frowned to this and sent another nail into her back, spurting out more blood from her back. At this same time, she just didn't flinch from the attack, making him a little worried that he might have hit her nerves. Well then, he grinned darkly before summoning more long nail claws before aiming them at her arms again. How about you try not to scream from this then? With the nails piercing her arm, Hokuto just stared at them before standing up, showing her wounds already healing, freaking out the older brother. What the hell, you shouldn't be moving, let alone standing at this point. Hokuto just stared at him. That is where you are wrong, fool. I'm not feeling anything from your attacks. Keep trying, you might actually tickle me at some point. She then charged forward, sending the nails deeper into her arm, but took his other hand and sent the nails through her head. Ha, take this. I'll see you in Hyak. Hokuto being close enough, she gripped him with one of her arms after tearing some of her skin out and healing from the nail attack. With her hand around his throat, she started strangling him, and he was panicking. This should not be possible. Die. He sent his free hand through her eyes, but she did not release her grip on him, and for the first time in his life he felt fear. Releasing her other arm, he quickly morphed his arms into swords and cut off her arms to free himself from the terrifying grip. He jumped backwards, holding his hands ready to strike, but then saw her walk up to her arms and lean down. He soon saw something black coming out of shoulder's hole and reattach her arms to her body. No, she's not normal. She hasn't even flinched. What the fuck? Seeing he couldn't win this fight, he did the one thing he knew better than torturing people. He ran. He blended into the wall and was gone, but the minute he did disappear, Hokuto was on the wall and slammed her fist into it. Doing this, she found that him blending into the wall weakened it, and thus allowing her to punch through. Looking down, she pouted. He ruined my outfit from Naruto-sama. How annoying. Hokuto looked around the hall and saw her way out, and thus proceeded down the hallway until she spotted Naruto consoling a child and another woman who had red hair and horns. She walked up to him, and he flinched at the damage she had while the red-hair woman frowned. What the hell happened to you? I ran into a problem and dealt with him. Though my clothes are ruined. She bowed to Naruto. I'm glad to see you are alright, Naruto-sama. The red-hair girl glared at Naruto, who waved at her. She has called me that ever since I saved her life, so there is no point in fighting her on this. Naruto frowned. But we will be getting you another outfit, Hokuto. Understood, Naruto-sama. By the way, who are these two? The taller redhead snorted. I'm Lucy and this is Nana. As you might have guessed, we are Yaminates, and while I'm a queen, Nana has the potential of becoming one. We are not at the highest order of our kind. Naruto frowned. I thought any that became a queen were the highest ranking among your kind. Normally you're right, but there is one that is rumored to have surpassed all of us in power and skill, and thus she was deemed the empress of our race. Naruto nodded his head before asking. I heard Toguro mention something about a demon that was sealed here. Do you know where it is? I can show you. Turning around, everyone saw Hai, and he was with his hands in his pocket. The reports I read about this demon are interesting for sure. You might want to take her with you. Naruto nodded his head at this, and he saw him holding a folder, which he threw to his feet. Also might want to give that to your faction leaders, as there is information that someone is funding this place. Naruto frowned at this. I'll make sure my father knows. Did you find her? He shook his head. No, I know for a fact she was sent to another facility, but I'm not sure, whereas the files for those facilities were corrupted. or they were erased in a way that they can't be retrieved with you attacking their facilities, not wanting to risk you finding out more about them. Naruto sighed. I see. Well then, I'm sorry I can't be more help to you. He smiled. The fact you went out of your way to do this, I should be thanking you. But after this we should go our separate ways. I have my fair share of enemies, and the last thing you need is them coming after you and your family. Naruto smiled, showing his fangs. Still, if you are ever looking for a place to settle down, let me know. I know some places in the Gremry territory that are secluded for someone like you. I was shocked by this. He was offering him a small part of his family's land so he can live in peace with his sister? He had a bright smile on his face. I might take you up on that in the future. He motioned him to follow him while the girls are following behind. Upon entering a hidden room behind the containment area that Lucy and Nana were being held, they saw a wooden box in the middle of the room. It couldn't be very big, meaning the demon inside must not be very big, or that they could control the size they are at. Walking up to it, they saw the box open slowly. Naruto had his fingers ready to fight this unknown enemy, while Hai had his sword ready and his secret weapon as well. Hokuto had her fist clenched, and Lucy was ready with her own spectral arms. But out of the box came a small girl with long black hair, purple eyes, and pale skin. She is wearing a purple haori with purple coat over it. The girl saw them and tilted her head at them before slowly approaching and sniffing the group. Naruto held his hand out, and she sniffed it a bit before nuzzling into it, making Naruto smile. Aren't you a cute thing? Yes, she is. Apparently, she is a human turned demon after watching her family be slaughtered a while back. Her brother is still out there, but I know for a fact this little one is unlike most demons of her kind. With the powers she possesses, she was considered too unique to pass up, thus they kidnapped her from the brother who, last I heard, is scouring the world looking for her. Naruto frowned but heard her grunt, thus bringing his attention back to her. She apparently had a gag in her mouth for reasons, but he guessed it was due to her having the same problem as him. The desire for flesh can become overwhelming. Hey, would you like to come with me? I can't promise we will find your brother immediately, but I promise the minute we do I'll bring him to you. How about it? Let me take care of you until then? She tilted her head to the side and then raised her hands in the air, showing she wanted to be held. Picking up the girl that was probably no older than Milikas, he laughed lightly as she nuzzled into him. Naruto smiled. Alright then, I think it is time for me to go home. If you guys want, I can take you with me to meet my family. Of course, Naruto-sama, I go where you go. Hokuto had her usual bored look on her face. I want to go with big brother. Nana was holding on to his pants leg while Lucy glared at him. Fine, I'll go with you just to make sure Nana is safe. Naruto smiled. Sorry, I have to still find my sister. This is where we part ways. Naruto shook his hand and they exchanged information, that way they could contact each other down the line when needed. With this, Naruto used the magical seal of the Gremry family and teleported out of there while Hai blurred out of existence. Out of the ground came an angry elder Toguro. That bastard, the next time I see him I'll rip him to shreds, while forcing him to watch as I kill that stupid group with him. Oh really? He turned around and paled. Standing there were two little girls, but each with a different aura around them. One was with long black hair, pointy ears, gray eyes, and was wearing a gothic Lilicon outfit. More, she had black tape over her in the form of an X while having an indifferent look on her face. The other one gave him the creeps. She was covered head to toe in wrappings, leaving only her red eyes visible to all, and at this same time she was wearing a pink ear hoodie. WW, what do you two want? He knew both by their titles, Ophis the dragon god of infinity, and the other being known as the owl, the queen of the ghoul race. Someone who was rumored to be so strong that even Shiva himself did not cross her path in fear of her lashing out at them. Relax, we are here for information about that little ghoul boy that you ran into. What about him? He'll be dead soon enough if you want to eat him. Ophis frowned. We want to know if you saw him do anything unusual in his fight with your younger brother. He frowned. No, I was busy with that damn walking corpse of a woman. They frowned again, and this time Ito showed her fingers snapping. This made him flinch, knowing she was very irritated at this point. Then you wouldn't mind telling me what you know about him then, huh? He nodded his head quickly, not wanting to make the owl matter. Simply put, he is unique. I saw him eat that stray that came with us. Apparently after eating him he gathered the power to use mercury magic. This caught both women's attention. You're saying that he can eat beings and then gain their powers and skills? He nods his head to this and then continued explaining the encounter with Hokuto, and what he knew about the girls that he took with him, and the mysterious demon that was with them as well. By the end of it he asked, so, are you going to help me take revenge against them now that I told you what I know? Before he could register what happened, he found himself without his body and it falling over in a slump, spurting blood all over the ground while being held in the air. What but you're too much trouble. Ophis destroyed the head, turning it into nothing but particles in the air, while at the same time, she watched all start dragging the corpse away. What are you planning for the body? The wrapped-up girl smiled. The children have to eat, no. Ophis sighed and shook her head. Whatever, make sure you fulfill the agreement. She nodded her head before disappearing through a purple and black portal, and Ophis just sighed, enjoying the silence of the building. Silence will be mine again. Underworld. Naruto had arrived with his friends outside the house of his father, and the guards immediately allowed them entrance. Upon entering the main foyer, he put Nezuko down, who pouted a little bit from the sudden change in comfort. But before she could grab his hand, something flew into his chest and let out adorable mewing sounds. Papa Kira knew she see you again. Kirara knew Papa be here soon, and when she sensed you, she came straight here with Gasper and I. Naruto smiled and cuddled the little hellcat and said, I know and I'm sorry, but where I'm going is dangerous, and I don't want to put you in pointless danger. She licked his face. Kirara knows Papa but promised Kira still missed Papa. Naruto hugged her close and saw his mother walking up to him with a smile on her face. Before he could register what happened, he was caught in a tight hug by her, and soon a crying Millie-Cass. Surzex, wondering what is going on, came and saw the family moment, and joined in making Naruto look at his group. They turned to see his fellow guests and he said, Welcome to Lucifer Castle, my family home. The group was shocked and uncaring at this point, given that he was the son of the Lucifer and his wife. Lucy fainted while Nana and Nezuko were just looking at them with blank expressions while Hokuto bowed. Greetings, it is nice to meet Naruto-sama's family. Surzex looked at the girl and then at Grafia. So, son, you found someone like your mother, huh? He laughed at this but then felt the chill seeing Grafia glaring at Naruto. Sochi explains. Naruto sighed before pulling out a folder and handing it to Surzex. This is going to take time. May we stay a couple of days? The two smiled. You don't even have to ask. Welcome home, son. Welcome back, Naru and I. Naruto turned to see a box next to him, and without warning pulled Gasper out of it, and held him in a hug, with Kira being in the center of this hug, enjoying the affection. Even if he was not smiling, she could sense the warmth in his heart. He was happy to be home with the family. Naruto sighed. It was the first time in the last few months that he got to enjoy a peaceful atmosphere. With his family home, he always is at peace. He felt that nothing bad was going to happen. He had introduced the group to the family, and they agreed to let them stay for a few days to rest up while Naruto got checked for any lingering injuries along with the others. Walking down the hall, he had his brother at his side talking animatedly about everything he has done while he was gone, and at the same time his mother was right behind them. But he noticed something every time he saw his brother look at the other side of him. There was Nezuko, holding his hand and just examining the room around her with childlike curiosity. Oh, does someone have a little crush? Millie-Cass blushed up a storm and was sputtering denials while Nezuko looked at him confusion. Grafia laughed at her youngest being so flustered around a pretty little girl and thinking it was so cute. Surzex was also laughing at his son for his flustered state, remembering how he was like that when he was his age. His first crush was someone he regretted to this day, but he still remembered all Gremories, blood or not, are like this with the women they really like. Maybe Millie-Cass might have found his future queen for himself? No, Aniki, I don't. Naruto grinned with his mask. Oh, your cherry-colored face tells a different story. He blushed even darker with Nezuko going in front of him, and seeing steam coming out of his ears with her almost nose to him. Naruto laughed at this before they finally entered their formal room. There was a big TV, a couple of couches and chairs, and some small furniture for putting drinks and books down on. Everyone make yourselves at home, I have some business to talk about with my father, and we shall return. Ka-sen, you mind staying with them? She smiled. Of course not. Naruto nodded his head and both son and father teleported out of the room and into his office. There Naruto took a seat while Surzex put the folder on his desk and activated 3 different runes on his desk, each showing the other mouths that are presently looking on with either boredom or just general disinterest. That is until they see Naruto and Surzex and realize this must be important. Naruto, you're back from your long hiatus. Well, almost everyone was being serious. Yes, I have returned, but it is more because on my last job I got information on some stuff that requires everyone's attention. Potentially we are dealing with an unknown enemy supported by unknown people, and it is raising suspicions. Ajuka nodded his head and smiled. His godson really was thinking things through more ever since his puberty, but still he hid his concern of his mental health, and the changes he is seeing in him. Okay, what is the information? Surzex put the folder down and had it appear in its own projection. From what Naruto has been able to gather, the facilities that he has been attacking are ran by some unknown human faction that is performing dark experiments and rituals on supernatural beings, and trying to create different monsters and beings to either assist them or replicate the process for themselves. So far we only have knowledge of 2 certain things. One, they are backed by a powerful player that can provide the funds and means to keep this place hidden and afloat. Another thing is that we know that this group has more than just humans involved, as the report shows they are hiring fallen angels, rogue exorcists, demons, and stray devils in the mix to help protect their assets, since Naruto is destroying most of the facilities in question. Ajuka looked through the projected file until he read something that shocked him. Is this one for real? They created an immortal human of some kind called Corpse Queen? Naruto sighed. Yes, her name is Hokuto, and unfortunately any memory she might have had of her early life is long gone. I'm not sure where she is from, but she was not just picked at random. So potential human sacrifice? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. That, or she was sold off for some reason by those close to her. The potential reasons she was there are almost limitless, Ajuka. He nodded his head. Too many factors at play, the one thing that he hated the most. He continued reading the file, but Seraphal saw something that angered her. They were experimenting on a child? Naruto sighed. Yes, I was able to save that one as well. Her name, from what the file indicated, is Nezuko. She apparently has a brother that is some kind of human demon slayer. I do not know where he is at this time, but I hope in time I can find him and reunite them. Indeed, but from the file itself, Ajuka looked closely while sweat dropping. His fellow Mao was sleeping. She is one rare demons that must eat humans to gain strength. Has she eaten anything yet? Naruto shook his head. That's the oddity about her. She can exist in the sun from what I was able to find out. She does not need to eat human flesh, and can resist thanks to the gag in her mouth. Ajuka nodded his head. If it is alright with you, I would like to come over and check them out from a scientific reasoning. Maybe something about the girl and the child can be explained if I have a closer look at them. Naruto smiled. That's fine, but cause them discomfort, and I'll veto it immediately, especially since the little one might be Militia's future bride. Ajuka snickered and Serafal gushed. Oh, how adorable, can we have them dress up then? Naruto laughed while Surzek smiled. Maybe some other time, right now, we need to focus. He then turned back to the file. From this we know that the enemy has a private benefactor, so I want all of you to extend resources to finding out who this person or people could possibly be. Understood? The three other Maos, even though the one sleeping was just nodding his head while rolling around on his pillow. Also, attention was back on Naruto. I brought back with me 2 Yaminates. I'm not sure about how they are mentally, but physically they seem to be advanced for their own kind. However, they have made reference to one of their kind that is known as an empress and is incredibly powerful in her own right. Please be wary if you meet someone that is able to manipulate the world to create limbs out of nothing like they can. We can't afford a war with a race we can't find. They all nodded their head and Ajuka said, I'll be over in a little bit. Same with me, see you soon, Naruto-chan. Naruto laughed as the projections went off and he then sighed. Man, if it ain't one thing it is another, you know too, San? Indeed, son, but I'm glad you are handling things so well. By the way, the stray devil you mentioned, the one at the facility. Yeah, what about him? Well, the thing is that I know who the stray devil betrayed, and when I mention it to the family in question, they might want a private audience with you. Naruto frowned. Politics, he really hated it. Fine, I'm staying for a few days anyway, got to rest up before heading out there again. Otherwise I'm no good to anyone, tired as can be. He laughed. Indeed, son, now why don't we go check on everyone in living room no? He smiled and quickly proceeded out of the room and to spend time with his group and his family. 3 days later, Naruto watched a cute sight. Nezuko and Milikas were playing some games outside, and while he was trying to outrun her, she always caught up to him really quickly. Then she would shake him around like a rag doll, causing him to get really dizzy from the spinning. After spinning him around, she would put him down and pat his head while smiling through the mouth gauze, and this caused the boy to fluster up. It was adorable for him, especially when Nana joined in the fun and started to really make a competition of who can make the poor boy fluster more than the other. He swore he saw fire in each other's eyes for this right. At this same time, Naruto saw Lucy watching in a distance wearing a new outfit. It was a long red dress going down to her knees, and she had on flat sandal shoes for extra mobility. Her eyes were focused on the girls, but every now and then he saw her look up at him, and when he waved she just turned her head with no care of his attention on her. Hokuto, last he heard, was still being examined by Ajuka after he ordered it to happen. She first almost broke the man's poor arm for daring to touch her when only her master, Naruto's side, could touch her without a reason or permission. From this same point, Naruto could feel she was more wanting to be by his side again as soon as possible, but he was wanting to know if there is something wrong with her or if she is damaged in some way from her fight. Hell, Ajuka told him while he did heal from his injuries, the actual pain that shot through his body was going to be with him for a while. That annoyed Naruto as a whole, but he accepted this and just focused on what he had to do today. Sochi, turning his head, he saw his mother in her maid's outfit again. He figured she must either really like the outfit or had a fetish for it that his father loved. If that was the case, he was erasing the idea out of his head as quickly as possible. So they are here? She nodded her head. They are awaiting you in the formal room. I'll send Beowulf to watch over the children in your stead. Naruto nodded his head while sighing. Gasper. Looking at the box in the corner, he smiled at the poor boy. Why don't you help my mom in the kitchen? I'm sure she could use your help with your mastery of tea making. Oh, okay, Nisan. Naruto smiled and reached into the box, pulling him out while he had Kiara in his arms. He then took his daughter and put her on his shoulder. Good boy, do this for me and I will get you a special present of your choice. His eyes sparkled. Can I get the latest games for my PS4? Naruto smiled. We'll go to the store as soon as I'm done here and when it is time for us to go to the human world, okay? Without waiting, the boy wearing a bright pink frilly dress rushed to Graphia and bowed to her. I'm ready to help. The woman smiled and pat the child's head. Of course, Gasper. I would love your help either way. Soon the three of them were led to another private room. It was his personal study when Naruto was younger, and it was also the holder of his private library of books and research. Entering the room, he saw the people in question sitting in front of his desk. One was a light blonde hair man with light skin, purple eyes, wearing glasses on his face with thin frame, and wearing a dark black suit with white shirt and red tie. A classic look if he ever saw one, and the other sitting next to him was his wife from what he could guess. She is wearing a revealing black dress, a very voluptuous figure, and long white hair with green eyes. Next to her with a blush on her face is Sikaveria, a blonde-haired teen wearing glasses and with purple eyes and an almost equally voluptuous figure as the mother. Her outfit of choice was a simple white button-up top that hugged her chest, a black skirt, and some black heel shoes. Greetings, Lord Agars and Lady Agars and Lady Sikaveria. I'm sorry if I kept you waiting. I was watching over my new guests and my sibling while they were playing in the yard. The Lord waved it off, admiring this teen's dress sense for the occasion. While Naruto preferred wearing loose clothing and at the same time nothing flashy, he made an exception this time around. He wore a gray button-up shirt, red blazer, and some light tan kakai pants. It is fine, Lord Naruto. It is an honor to meet you again. Naruto nodded his head while having his teeth hidden in his mask to not freak the poor man out. Now I believe you wish to speak to me about the stray devil that I killed recently? The one that could use Mekiri magic? He nodded his head while the woman frowned. Yes, as you can guess, we are extremely happy that you put that monster away. Naruto frowned. I'm aware that the man murdered his peerage members and then killed his king, that was Dash. Yes, he did that horrible thing to my eldest daughter. Ever since the incident, my daughter has become a shell of her former self. It breaks my heart, and she told us she did not want to be the heiress, and with the death of my second oldest it now falls on my youngest. Sikaveria gripped her skirt and Naruto frowned. Well, I assure you the man is dead and is being digested by myself. However, it turns out an unusual thing came of this eating. Naruto held his hand out and formed Mekiri in his hand and gave it a solid shape, shocking the people in the room. Astounding. Does that mean whoever you eat you gain their powers or magic from? I'm not sure, to be honest. It is the first time a ghoul has really been with others to see this happen. It is theorized that maybe it had something to do with my feeding, maybe my puberty, or me being a devil before reverting back to a ghoul. The possibilities are endless at this time. The man nodded his head. Yes, but as you know, our clan and family owes a deep gratitude for what you did. Naruto waved it off. Don't think much of it. I knew the man from the face, so I knew killing him would be nothing more than rewarding for what he did. But may I ask why you wanted to see me in person, though? I mean, if you are here to pay me for the bounty, then that is something that did not require this. True, the woman spoke for the first time. While that is the case, we do have something else to propose to you. She looked at her youngest and smiled at her. She stood up and walked up to Naruto on the other side of the desk. She got down eye level with him and smiled with tears running down her face. For avenging my sisters and killing that monster, I asked you, Naruto Lucifuge, please be my husband. She then kissed him on the lips, shocking him. He was so stunned by the moment, he did not notice she slipped her tongue into his mouth and started wrapping around it. It took a minute, but after the father coughed, she broke the kiss with a blush on her face and a deep seductive look in her father's side while the mother giggled. Our daughter is quite adventurous, would you not agree, dear? Yes, apparently so, like her sisters and her mother. Soon a dark aura formed around the woman. Is that supposed to mean something? The man paled and Naruto was awoken by the same aura that his mother gets when Surzek forgets something important. One missed anniversary and she never let him forget about it, or even her birthday as a whole. That was a beating no one forgets. No, dear, you know I love that about you and my baby girls. She smiled and kissed his cheek while laughing at how flustered he was. Soon Grafia walked in with Gasper and handed the group some tea. While Gasper was complimented by the lady and Lord, they thought he was a she, and Naruto told them that was not the case. The lady thought he was absolutely adorable, and the Lord asked about this being a common thing for Naruto. He explains, Gasper is like a little brother to me and I see him as family. All I want is for him to be happy. The man nodded his head and let the situation drop while both his mother and Gasper stand in the corner listening into the conversation. Now back to the matter at hand. While I understand that Sikaveria is willing to be married to me, I'm afraid I'm not in the same position at this time. She frowned and so did the Lord. Please explain. Naruto sighed. As you know, as a ghoul things are complicated. Especially as you notice my hair color has changed to white, and thus signaling I'm going through puberty. For a ghoul this is a dangerous time, as some days your impulses are easier to contain while at other times the impulses are impossible to suppress. In fear of this happening, I've been doing missions out of the country, and out of the underworld to make sure I always have a steady supply of things to do and food to keep me distracted. Recently though, I noticed that due to my feedings I'm starting to develop more violent tendencies in fights when things get close, so while I'm flattered I can't marry any time until this is over. At the same time, he looked at Sikaveria. I don't want your daughter to marry me out of obligation to clan status or debts. If she wishes to be engaged though, I guess we can do this, but I want this to be her choice and not something forced on her by the clan, and that we have time to get to see if we are compatible. The Lord, while a little annoyed, understood his reasoning and was happy this boy was willing to think of his daughter's well-being rather than just going after her as a prize for prestige and bragging rights. The mother was happy that her daughter was treated like a person instead of a prize. Ever since the incident with the monster that raped her oldest and then killed her second child, things have been looking bleak. The other clans started spreading rumors about them not being as great as other clans. But now, this is a chance they can save face and protect their daughter with the one person in the underworld that is feared more than even the mouse. Sikaveria blushed brightly. It was nice to be seen on equal footing by someone she has had a crush on since she was younger. If it is alright with you, Naruto-kun, I would like to be your fiancé for now. Naruto looked at her and sighed. Alright, but I won't be able to spend time with you for a little while given I have some work I need to take care of outside the country. Also, Kirara mewed and started rubbing up on her father, causing the mother and daughter to gain hearts in their eyes with how cute the little hellcat was. As you can see, my attention is divided with my daughter here, Gasper, Milikas, and several others. Sikaveria gained a light bulb idea. What if I was to transfer to Ku and look after these people while you are working? Naruto raised an eyebrow. You sure you would be okay with this? As you now, Rias and Sona are already there, and they might not dash. Grafia stepped in with a glare. Both will do as they are told, I assure you, Sochi. Naruto looked at his mother with a frown but sighed. He settled for petting his daughter, who transferred to his lap, mewling at the attention. Alright, I would appreciate that. I'll have the paperwork done that Nezuko and Nana can enter both the middle school class while having Lucy there as a member of the first years. Great, then that is settled. Shall we write up the contract? Naruto nodded his head. Several hours after the Agars clan finished business with him, Naruto sighed and slammed his head on the desk while his mother rubbed his back. It is going to be alright, Sochi. Naruto moaned while sitting up and looking at Gasper. Alright, little man, we are going to the nearest game store in Ko and getting those games you asked for. The boy's eyes lit up and quickly got packed and was back in a flash. Naruto laughed while hugging his mom and telling her, I'll call later, Ka-san. The sooner I'm done, the sooner I come back. No. She smiled. She was sad her son was leaving almost as fast as he came, but she knew he would be back soon. Be safe, and I'll make sure the others know where to find you. Naruto nodded his head, handing her a seal. Give this to Hokuto, knowing her she will follow me no matter where I go, so it is better that you give her this to come to me directly. She nodded her head and both Karara and Gasper waved goodbye before vanishing. She saw a bundle on the floor. Opening it was some money with a note from Milikas. I guess she was going to take her son shopping soon. Maybe her husband was due another break. Midnight. Naruto appeared in Gasper's room in Ko and sat him down on his bed while covering him up. Taking his daughter off his shoulder, who was passed out from the fun day they had, put her on his chest. Take care, both of you, I'll be back soon. Naruto then left the games by his game console before heading off. Upon walking onto the campus grounds, he felt someone behind him. Turning around, he saw it was Rias, who was shocked to see him. Naruto, Rias. Naruto just stared at her. What can I do for you? Why are you here? Naruto smiled. Just dropping off Gasper and Karara from a fun day. Had some business back home in the Underworld, and after that took them shopping and stargazing. You know Gasper likes looking at the stars, right? Rias frowned, not knowing this information. Naruto, please come back. Naruto shook his head. Sorry, not going to happen, Rias. You had your chance and you blew it. What, you expect me to just forgive you now that you know the truth about my feelings and suddenly started having them yourself, or is that your guilt talking now? She had tears running down her face and her magical aura started flaring to life. I refuse to let you go, Naruto-kun. He sighed. You can't beat me. You couldn't back then, so why is now any different? She frowned and fired a ball of magic at him, but he just blurred away, chopped her neck. Catching her, he took her to her office and laid her down in her bed. Naruto, don't go. He saw tears in her eyes and felt his heart twist, but shook it off. You had your chance, Rias. I'm not my father. I will not forgive those that hurt me. Maybe one day we can be friends again, but as of now, we are nothing more than people that had the displeasure of knowing each other. Naruto blurred again and was walking in town before seeing it starting to rain. Damn, this took too long, man. This sucks, and fuck the weather, man. He didn't call for rain this late or as early? He was continuing on his way and about to blur out again until he noticed something at the side of the road in an alleyway. It was someone crumpled up and barely alive. He touched her neck and saw that she was breathing shallowly, worst her eyes. They were devoid of emotion or life and just seemed ready to die there. He could not tell her face or anything but knew that was not important. So reaching into her nearby bag, he looked and saw an ID. Why are you out here, Yuno Gasai? Naruto is sitting at a table and making sure the food and water was ready. He had to use plastic utensils given that the last time he gave her a knife she tried to slit her own wrists, and then tried to stab him. Seeing this, she was only given plastic utensils and made sure that she was monitored when she ate. Ever since Naruto found Yuno out in the rain, he had been taking care of her in her own house. He had asked about her parents but got no response about it, and just pure silence would come of it. Personally, he wondered what happened to her but gave up asking her to talk about it. He might as well ask Hokuto about her past, as that was about as fruitful of an endeavor as this. From this point, Naruto was taking care of her, and after making sure she had her food and was eating, Naruto left the room when he felt something in his pocket ringing. Looking, he saw it was his mother, so he answered. What can I do for you, Ka-san? Naruto thanked the Mao I could reach you. No one has heard from you in the last few days. Hokuto has been getting anxious that she accidentally threw Surzex through a window for bothering her, as she called it. Sorry about that, something came up and I'm taking care of it. Is it work? No, listen, I'm looking after this girl named Yuno Gasai. I found her out in the rain the day I came back and have been trying to care for her. I see. How is she doing? Not well mentally. She has given up on life and only wants to die. But until I know why, I can't let her do that to herself. I understand, Sochi, just please be safe and don't push yourself on the girl too much. Naruto nodded his head over the phone. I'll let Hokuto know how to find you and she should be there soon. But there is something else I wanted to ask you. What is it? Something big has come up in the Underworld that requires your father and my attention, and we can't keep an eye on your brother and the two girls. We were hoping you wouldn't mind watching over them for the day. Naruto thought it over and said, Fine, but how is Lucy settling in? There was silence on the other side of the phone for a minute before finally she said, She is settling in as best as one can expect. Naruto frowned. What is that supposed to mean? Well, from what Sikvera is telling us, she is doing well in classes, but she is distant to the human students. She almost flipped when one boy apparently was harassing her for her sizes, but her queen sent the boy running for the hills apparently. Good, I'll need the little prick's name though. Naruto was not going to let someone harass someone he is trying to protect. You'll have to get that from Sikvera. Okay, mother. Just send over Hokuto, I'll have her watching Yuno while I take care of the kids. He could feel the joy on the other side of the phone. Thank you, Sochi, they should be over there in a few hours. Naruto nodded his head and hung up the phone before heading into the bedroom and saw Yuno. Her long pink hair was done up in a bun, letting it fall down to her back but not too long like normal. However, she had a blank look in her eyes and was just staring at the wall, ignoring his presence. But he could see she was done eating her food but saw one of the utensils was missing. Hand over the plastic knife, Yuno. She leapt off the bed and swung the plastic knife at him, but he caught her wrist and pinned her to the floor. After bending her wrist a bit, she dropped the tool and he frowned. You know that would not have worked on me. Yuno growled. Piss off. I would, but until I know everything that is going on, I won't leave. He then sat up and walked out of the room with all the stuff that was once part of her breakfast. From this point he cleaned the dishes and noticed a heavy lingering of blood, or at least dried blood, in one of the rooms down the hall. But it was not his house, so he was not going to go snooping somewhere he was not supposed to. From this point, Naruto saw a teleportation circle and out of it came Hokuto, who immediately rushed him and hugged him. Naruto-sama, please do not leave me behind again. Naruto sighed and pat her head. Fine, just let me go, okay? She nodded her head and looked at him. Whose house are we in? Naruto then told Hokuto everything from the time he met Yuno and how she was suicidal at this point. Listen, I need to take care of my sibling and his friends, so would you mind watching over her and making sure she eats okay? Of course, Naruto-sama, whatever you want. Naruto nodded his head before leading her to Yuno was already up and charging him again. But this time, Hokuto reacted on it and slammed her to the floor with her hand wrapped around her throat. Don't try that again, Yuno-san. She growled with her eyes glowing with rage and Naruto's instincts running wild. What the hell is that? In seconds Yuno was off the floor and throwing a punch at Naruto, shocking him, but he blocked the strike. How the hell did she get off the floor and in punching distance? Naruto soon ducked another punch before flooring her with a hook of his own, toning down on the power of the punch. Listen, I came in here to tell you that Hokuto will be watching over you for the rest of the day, and she is not one to show restraint to those that cross her. So please behave, would you? Yuno growled. Why don't you both get the hell out of my house? Only if you tell me why you are acting like this. She turned her head in a huff and Naruto sighed before turning to Hokuto. Keep an eye on her. Make sure she is eating and cleaning herself, but do not let her out of sight. She has tried to kill herself, and until I know why, I don't want anything happening to her. Got it? Yes, Naruto-sama. Naruto nodded his head and pat her head before walking out of the house before pulling his phone out again. Ka-san, please send the kids to the school. I'm going to check on Lucy there and talk to Sikvera for a bit. Okay then, please do behave while you are there. We know about your confrontation with Rias. I have nothing to say about that. I know, Sochi, just keep this in mind while you are there. Also, the Agars girl, she is nice, please try to bond with her more. After all, I would like some grandchildren of my own soon, you know? Naruto blushed at this and sighed. No promises, Ka-chan. But I will be on my best behavior. Good to hear, Sochi. After Naruto put his phone up, he looked behind himself. Whoever you are, why don't you come out now? Out from the shadow of a tree, Naruto saw a handsome teen. He is wearing a gray jacket, hoodie, white shirt with a blue tie, and a pair of blue jeans and gray tennis shoes. This teen had a smile on his face, staring down Naruto with his pinkish eyes while sporting short gray hair. Who the hell are you? The teen laughed a bit and held his hand out for a handshake. Naruto did not initiate this handshake due to not knowing the person's intentions and that he can sense holy energy coming from him. Apologizes, my name is Agars and I'm here as someone that is to monitor Yuno Gasai. Naruto narrowed his eyes more and turned around while having his fingers ready to crack. Why do you want her? Please, he waved his hand at Naruto. It is not for evil intentions if that is what you are worried about. More, I'm here to monitor the situation with her and her power. Really then, do you know why she is like she is at this time? He frowned. Yes, unfortunately she is like this as she just had her entire world shattered recently. Naruto raised an eyebrow. But I had a quick question, where is your mask? Naruto's eyes turned red and charged the teen holding him against a nearby wall with a growl. No one outside, a few people knew about his new mask, so to find out someone outside his group's knows about it put him on edge. Why don't you tell me how you know about that then, and who exactly sent you? Sorry, cough, I assure you it is not meant for hostility, please let me explain. Naruto growled deeper but let him fall to the ground, adjusting his clothes and coughing a bit. Lie to me and I'll show you a very slow way to die. I understand. Listen, I'm here on orders from the church to monitor Yuno Gasai due to her connection to a dangerous power that she inherited from a previous ancestor. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Was that power something to do with how she was able to seemingly blur? You see, years ago God created the sacred gears, but what people don't know is that there are certain powers that were created that were out of his control and considered more dangerous than the true Longinus spear. With even one of these powers one could alter the world in the worst ways. Naruto looked at him and asked, "So, what is the power that she possesses?" "The power to move through time. She can freeze, rewind time, fast forward, and even manipulate things in time. This power belonged to her bloodline from her mother's side, but no one before her had ever unlocked it, as it is something that one unlocks when it is life or death." "I see, so you're saying God made this power by mistake?" Agars nodded his head and ran his hand through his hair. "The truth is, very few people know of this, given that the last time one of these powers came up it's led to a huge massacre of humans and other races. So, it was outlawed by heaven to speak of these powers, tell the exorcists, or allow these powers to exist in the mortal world." "Okay," Naruto thought back to Yuno and the broken and angry look on her face. "Is that why the church wants her to manipulate her powers or just seal them away?" Agars sighed. "More, they want to kill her in fear that she is too dangerous." Naruto growled. "I might have known the girl for long, but she did not ask for this. So, tell the church they try it." He held his hand up, stopping Naruto. "Look, I know you're going to protect her, and that is a good thing given that you are known as eldest child of the Mao. Plus, you are needed now to help her come to terms with what has happened and help her control her powers." "What the hell happened to her? You were going to tell me before your tirade." "Sorry, the truth is that Yuno used to go to this high school not too far from here, but sadly things were not perfect for her. She had this boy she was interested in there, but in the end, he only dated her to prank her and tell her that he never loved her, just to see the broken look on her face." Naruto glared. That was low even by the standards of demons. To toy with someone like that just to get a sick satisfaction from it. "Naruto," looking at the teen, he saw the pleading look in his eyes. "You've known me for less than 10 minutes, but I'm asking as someone that wants to prevent a catastrophe, please help her. Help stabilize her and free her from the guilt in her heart." Naruto snorted. "I was going to do that anyway. But won't you get in trouble talking to me?" Agars laughed before starting walking away. "The church is almost done with me anyway, I'll be ousted soon." Naruto saw him gone in a blur, confusing him. "The church is almost done with him, what the fuck does that mean?" He shook his head. "No time to worry about that, I got to get moving if I hope to make it to the school in time, avoiding the awkwardness of Rias and the others." On the other side of town, Agars sighed. He was glad part of his plan was going well, but he sensed someone behind him. Looking, he saw it was a brown-haired adult with a cross necklace around his neck. "You heathen, how dare you talk to that abomination? You know he is a child of the monster Lucifer." "I had to. He was the closest to Yuno right now, and no one else can possibly reach her at this time." The man growled and pulled out a holy sword. "For betraying the church, your sentence is death." He charged at the teen, but soon found the teen walking away from him and his body not moving. "Where are you going?" His head slid from his body and fell to the ground with a thud. "Fool! How can I betray something that betrayed me first?" Agars walked away with a dull look in his eyes and hoping that the others that are coming don't find him. Academy. Naruto was watching a rather amusing scene. In this scene he could only tease and coo at how adorable it was, but wouldn't give that he tries not to express such emotions on the outside. Milikas was in the middle of a tug-of-war between Nezuko, who was glaring at Nana to let go, and Nana doing the same thing. Milikas was wearing a red suit while Nana is wearing a black and gray frilly dress, and Nezuko having her traditional kimono clothes on at this time. "They are adorable, aren't they?" Naruto turned his head and saw his fiancée holding his left arm tightly between her breasts and two arms. He sighed. "Yeah, I think Milikas is going to make one of them his queen when they become of age, but Nana is going to take some convincing from Lucy though." Turning his head, he saw the red-haired woman with red eyes wearing the female school uniform and looking displeased with the short skirt. "I don't care if Nana wants to be with him, but not until she is older and much stronger." Naruto sighed. "Of course." Lucy glared at the boy, making Milikas pale. "Hurt Nana or make her cry and I'll give you a reason to be scared, got it, child?" Milikas nodded his head in fear of the scary woman, while Nezuko pulled him into her grasp and started holding him over her head in victory. Soon a chase ensued, with Nana trying to use her arms to catch them but Nezuko jumping away from her and her invisible arms. "Alright, you three." The kids stopped and looked at Naruto, who was staring down at them. "I know you three are excited, but for now I want you three to know one thing. We are going to be having fun in town, but you are to stay where I can see you, got it?" The children nodded their head and soon they left the campus and were heading in where they arrived at a gaming store. After giving the children some money, Naruto watched as Nana and Milikas dominated some shooting games and some other two-person games. But when they looked over at Nezuko, she was breaking all the records for the dancing game and showing absolute mastery, moving faster than most of the humans could see. Of course, she had plenty of challengers, but they were all crushed under her surprising talent. Which led to a scary but funny situation where after she was done, someone in a hood tried to grab her and run. But he wouldn't have gotten far, for Naruto would have stopped him and broke his legs in the process. Sekvera would have caught him and done the same. Milikas would blast the fool into ashes, leading to a lot of people having their minds erased or Nana cutting him to pieces to save her rival. But the funny thing that did happen was Nezuko snapped one of the man's wrists, freeing herself, then kicking him in the nuts, sending him falling to the ground, and finally ending with a glare on her face. She then unleashed a barrage of punches to his face, with Naruto swearing he heard aura through the mouth guard. But he figured it was from all the years of watching JoJo that he came up with something like this. Shortly after this, all the children called her a war goddess, making her bashful, but the funniest thing is seeing Millicast getting jealous of boys trying to ask her out. Eventually he went up and took her away while flaring his aura at them, scaring all the children away from her while checking her over for injuries. She blushed at the attention, and Nana pouted with puffy cheeks. After this fiasco was figured out, Naruto took them to an anime store and started letting them buy what they want from the store. It was one of his most expensive spending trips to date, given he bought the complete Bleach collection, all the One Piece box sets, Shield Hero box set, figurines of DBZ characters, and other shows as well. Honestly, the total price was so high he knew his mother was going to kill him. She saw it, given that this is his personal account, and she still was his monitor of it. After storing away the shopping material, Naruto took Sikvera, this time shopping for stuff she wanted, and surprisingly she wanted some Gundam stuff and other mecha anime materials, so he bought that for her. On top of that, she bought some clothes, dresses, and even a cosplay costume for herself, and something he did not get to know what it was. Maybe on our wedding night I'll show you. Naruto could only blush lightly at this while Millicast yelled at it. The girls looked on at her with great respect and started asking for some dating tips, leaving the brothers' sweat dropping being ignored like this. As the day wound down, Naruto took the kids to some fast food places and let them order what they wanted, with Nezuko finally able to take off her mouth guard. She ate her hamburger as one would expect for a child, while Nana did the same, and they wanted to share a drink with Millicast, making Naruto sigh. Father help him when they actually do start dating when they are older. Sikvera smiled and put her head on his shoulder. I think it is adorable. Reminds me of another boy who was the eye of the entire room and had every girl wanting to get to know him, but his need to be with his mother overclouded this. Naruto huffed. I'll have you know I'm not attached to her skirt like I was as a child. Good to know that, Sochi. Naruto froze, seeing his mother standing there in her maid's outfit and smiling down at him. Ka-san, what are you doing here? I'm here to take the children home. I know about the busy and expensive day you had, so when I got done with work I came straight here. She turned to her youngest and the girls. Come along everyone, your brother has some stuff he has to take care of and can't stay longer. Millicast frowned. Okay. Naruto smiled and pulled out something from his pocket. Handing it to his brother, he saw it was a flip phone with 2 numbers written into it. He saw it was for Naruto's phone and one for Sikvera. It was a flip phone purely because he wanted his brother to show responsibility before he gets him an expensive phone. Here you go, little brother, your gift from me. If you need anything, I'll try to answer, but when I'm working, I'll return when I'm done, okay? Millicast smiled and hugged his brother. Thanks, big bro, I won't abuse this. After waving goodbye to his siblings, Naruto took Sikvera to a fancy restaurant for their dinner, and soon spent the rest of the night just getting to know each other more personally. From this point, Naruto could say that while he might not love her, but he was interested in her. Arriving at the school, she kissed his cheek and teleported home, saying to visit her at her co-house. Naruto sighed and looked up at the stars in the sky now. Hope Hokuto had a good night. With Gasper. Gasper looked up from his computer as he heard Kirara sigh, as she was laying across the floor. You okay, Kirara? Gasper asked, worried, as he didn't want her to be hurt/sick. Kirara's fine, Gasper. Kirara informed him as she shifted. Just sad. What's wrong? Gasper asked as he picked the Hellcat up. Kirara wanted to spend time with Papa today, but he said he would be busy with Mama, Millicast, and 2 of the girls he brought with him. Kirara responded sadly as she drooped into Gasper's arms. Wait, who is your mama? Gasper asked as he never heard Kirara ever call anyone that. Agars heiress, Gasai residence. Hokuto saw a room that was taped off, and against most natural instincts she entered the room. She saw a dark cage holding 2 adult bodies in them that are decomposed. There was blood on the wall, and she saw another body on the other side of the room, signaling that someone else was killed in this room. She did not need to be a genius to know that the 2 in the cage had to be her parents, but who the third body is a complete mystery. But when she saw the blood and cut marks on the wall, she saw a message on the wall. H, help me. Hokuto soon felt a sharp pain. It rang in her head and she fell to her knees. Stop, please stop, I didn't do anything. Please stop, I don't know why you are doing this, please, I'm begging you. She had tears going down her face and only released a silent scream. Freak, you serve, nothing matters. How could this happen to? They must. Nachon, please, S-. In the name of you must die. Shut up. Hokuto slammed her fist into the floor, causing a deep crack to appear and her to pant from the pain she was in. What the hell was that? Looking up, she saw Yuno staring at her in shock, but gained her blank stare again. Before she could react, she was hugging her. The past always hurts. Let it all out. Hokuto could only hug the girl back slowly, but soon the tears rolled down her face. I bet you are wondering about this room and the message on the wall, no? Hokuto looked into her eyes and saw a dead and almost lifeless look on her face. The truth is that I killed my parents, but the strangest thing is the third dead body here. It is not someone in my family. Well, not exactly. What do you mean? Yuno glared at the corpse and walked up to it, revealing strands of hair, shocking her. The hair was pink. This was me. Yuno, looking at the corpse in the corner, could only sneer at it. What do you mean that corpse is you? Turning to Hokuto, Yuno answered. It is exactly as I said. That corpse right there is me from apparently some other timeline. She came here in the hopes of finding my Yuki by taking my place. She was going to kill me and then pretend everything was the same while denying the truth around her. Sadly, she did not know about this curse I have. She then showed her picking up the knife and without warning it flung across the room. It was embedded into the wall with a thud and thus terrifying Hokuto. When did she move her wrists? My curse is that I can do things most can't dream of, and see things that are to be. She smiled, which is why when I saw me and Yuki together I dreamed of a life with him and finally having something to mean something. Tears streamed down her face, but in the end it seems that dream is nothing more than that, a dream. Yuno turned away from the girl and walked out of the room and closed it. Hokuto was not sure what to make of this girl. One minute she was trying to kill them and the next she was trying to bond with her through her own trauma. But hearing what she was saying, if this other Yuno really did come from some alternate universe, then that stands to reason there might be other ways of reaching their timeline. She wondered, is it possible that Naruto-sama in another timeline would have never saved her, and she would have been made a weapon for someone? That thought made her feel something that she wasn't used to. It made bile build up in her stomach and she started sweating and almost hyperventilating. Fear, she knew this is what she was feeling. Before she could process this anymore she sensed Yuno leaving the house. Shocked, she dashed out. Exiting the building she saw her running down the street in the dead of night, and wondering where the hell she was going. Without waiting she took off on the rooftops and rummaging through her top for her cell phone. After a bit she pulled it out and speed dialed a number. Yes, Hokuto, what is it? Apologized Naruto-sama, but I think you should know that Yuno has left the house and is making her way down the street. What? What the hell happened? I don't know, but she was telling me something that makes me believe she knows more about her powers and our world than she lets on. But what? I think she is in denial that she can still have some semblance of a normal life with her powers or her curse, as she calls it. Damn it. Listen, I'm heading back to the house. I want you to follow her and find out what is going on. I will contact Sikaveria so she can send backup and I'll make sure they know what to expect. Roger, Naruto-sama. The line went dead and she quickened her pace but saw Yuno standing at the end of a street and then appearing at the other side within seconds. What the hell is going on? She knew that something about her power seems to move her, but she was not 100% sure. Back with Naruto, he is texting Sikaveria while trying to sense out Hokuto. Sikaveria texts back saying she is sending her pawn and knight out to help him in his search. One apparently being known for taking very narrow-minded missions, and the other a sadist who loves to shave people's skin off. Within seconds, two people appeared next to him. One was a man wearing some dirty-looking armor and carrying a short sword and shield while having his head covered by a large helmet. His armor was more lightweight than what he has seen on most people who are looking for protection. At this same time, he saw that his counterpart was a tall fish-looking man wearing a dark black coat. He had a bandage-wrapped sword behind him, white eyes, shark teeth, and short black spiky hair. So you're my backup? The helmet man nodded his head. Yes, so where is our target? She is currently en route to the park. Given that I can sense Hokuto heading that way, my guess is something is going on there that Yuno needs to see. Kisame snorted. I can't believe my king is wasting my time with this babysitting bullshit. Look, if you can't keep track of your bitches then don't ask others to do so. Naruto's eyes turned red and black and without warning Kisame found his neck being crushed by a red tentacle. Talk to me like that again and I'll eat you. Kisame smiled. I bet I won't taste very good. Naruto snorted. Contrary, I think the taste of fish will be interesting for a ghoul like me. He snapped one of his fingers and he laughed. Alright, shithead, I'm sorry, can you let me go? Naruto retracted his tentacle and Kisame rubbed his throat. Sorry, I tend to not like to care for little shits like you, but you at least have the balls to attack me so I can dig. My king is going to marry you. Kisame grinned darkly. So, care to fill us in with the girl in question? Park. Yuno was standing in the middle of the park. She had finally lost that damn girl that was stalking her. Apparently the girl was following from the rooftop given she could see her. But the issue was losing her as she was insanely fast, so she relied on her personal gift to finally lose her before arriving at the park. The reason she was here is her phone. Opening, she saw a message from Yuki. Yuno, I'm sorry for how I've treated over the last few days. Please come to the park tonight, and I promise I'll make it up to you. We are meant to be together, you know. Reading this, Yuno knew that Yuki was finally seeing what she was seeing and came as quickly as she could. But she didn't see him, so she figured he must be hiding out somewhere or just running a little late. So she was going to stand there waiting for him, but she didn't see a problem sending a text message to him. Yuki, where are you? I'm here at the park. Great, listen Yuno, it has been tons of fun, but I think it's time to finish this stupid game, don't you? Huh? Yuno turned her head and is shocked to hear growling behind her and saw several large and small dogs charging at her. She is terrified seeing them that she quickly takes off in a dash. While doing this, she had her phone out and was texting. Yuki, why are you doing this to me? I love you, please bitch, I know that, but I never cared. Honestly, you were always annoying how you were trying to cling to me all the time. Personally, I never wanted to do that, but the others thought it'd be good to set things up for tonight. So all those things, you never meant them? Not one damn thing. You are so stupid falling for such a simple act. Makes me wonder if I should be an actor. I could make this a heroic play of a stupid bimbo getting what she wanted. All the attention in the world she deserves and dying because of it. Yuki, please don't do this. Sorry bitch, but we are live and I'm not planning on ruining the experience. Later, Yuno was crying her eyes out. She couldn't believe this was happening to her. She only ever wanted to love him. To be with Yuki and have her life mean something to someone. But now she was not sure life was worth living for if this was what it was going to come down to. Yuno tripped down the steps and fell down, rolling down the stairs. She was cut on her head and bleeding and had several scrapes and bruises. I guess this is the end. How pitiful. I fell in love with someone that wanted to kill me for some enjoyment. Is this all my life amounts for? Being someone's toy of torture? God, why did you curse me to live this horrible existence? First my parents, then the other girl that showed up, and now this? Please tell me, does it mean anything? My life, me purpose, what the fuck is it supposed to be? She saw a dog leap at her, but before it can reach her she then saw Naruto appear out of nowhere and knock the dog away. The dogs were growling but soon whimpering when he glared at them and his red eyes visible to them while his teeth are shown. You alright, Yuno? WW, what are you doing here? Yuno looked at the teen and two others that appeared, with one looking like some kind of fish man and the other an armored teen. What does it look like, dumbass? We are saving you. Kisame, that's no way to talk to a woman. The fishman snorted. Whatever, so what are we going to do about these dogs? Naruto narrowed his eyes and saw the foam coming out of their mouths. Looks like they got rabies. I'll send them to the familiar master, as he is able to cure this. Without warning, Naruto held his hand out and casted a summoning seal that sent the dogs to the familiar master. Naruto, seeing the area clear, turned to Kisame and Goblin Slayer, at least that he is what he called himself, and motioned for them to take off. He wanted to find the little shits that set this up and kill them for it, but in the slowest and most brutal way possible. The two took the hint and took off while Hokuto was sitting in a nearby tree making sure nothing happened to her beloved master. Yuno. She looked up at him with blood pouring out of her head. Naruto quickly took a rag he summoned and started cleaning the wound. Everyone has some purpose for existing. It is a common belief that we are all put on this planet to do some amazing things in life. But what it is, that is for us to find out. He smiled at her. No one is born alone, trust me, I should know this. He unwrapped the mask around his face and showed his face to her. Why did you take off your mask? To show you the face of the person that makes the biggest promise of his life. I, Naruto Lucifuge, will personally ensure that you find your purpose for living and do everything in my power to make sure it is possible. Yuno was shocked. This man, he had known her for more than about 3 days and knew nothing about her. Yet he was promising her that she would have her entire life given a purpose through him. She could feel something in her heart she hadn't felt in some time. Hope. Hope for the future and the promise of a better life. The hope that was needed to continue thinking there is a reason to get up in the morning and do the things needed to survive. Yuno sat up and put her hands on her face, crying tears of pain and anguish, with Naruto, only knowing from his mother and past experiences with others in his life, hugged her close. She just wailed into his shoulder, and he pat her back. Naruto soon saw Goblin Slayer return and with some magic put the girl to sleep. Well? He tilted his helmet head. The teens were watching the whole thing from the observatory. We knocked them out. Do you want to kill them? Naruto shook his head and his eyes turned red, putting the armored man on edge. No, I want those little fucks to suffer. I'm going to ensure that they lose everything and face agony. Then when it comes down to it, I'm going to make sure only when they lose everything including hope, then I will kill them. The armored man could feel it. The reason this man was so vindictive was that she was treated similar to how he was when he was first brought to the Underworld. His king told him when Naruto was brought into the home of the Lucifer he was treated like a freak and outcast by the other devil clans. It got so bad at points that he never had a chance to be alone and just cry his eyes out. But unlike him, Yuno had a more tragic past from what he could gather from his king and what happened today. More, she had the idea that her life was cursed and she would never find true happiness. So what is first? Naruto smiled and pulled out his phone before pulling up Sikavaria's number. Got a favor to ask. What is it? I want to pay back the kids that are tormenting Yuno. I'll let your knight and pawn fill you in on the details. And I want it done in a way that is not traceable to us. I can do that, but you know dash. When I get back from my job I will take you out on a fancy date and everything. Promise. Great. I'll get right to the plan, but note I won't kill them. That is something that I promised my parents. To avoid killing people without a good reason, or they belong to one of the main factions that are coming after us. I understand, but I'm sure someone else is going to want to kill them. He looked down at Yuno and saw the smile that was forming on her face. At least she is having a peaceful sleep now. Putting his mask on his face again and making sure the wrappings around his jaw are tight, he said, destroy their lives, destroy their ties, and then when they feel hope, snatch it from them and leave them in the darkness like Yuno was. All of this for one girl you barely know. I get it that you sympathize with her, but it seems excessive. No, it is not. Please do this for me. Fine, but that dinner better be so damn good that it is worth it. Deal. Naruto hung up his phone and whistled, bringing down Hokuto from her hiding place in the trees. Let's take Yuno home, Hokuto, and then we are heading out, okay? The woman nodded her head and Goblin Slayer started walking away. Kisame will take the teens home and erase their memories of us showing up and saving Yuno. Now if you excuse me, I have a goblin camp to wipe out today. Naruto nodded his head to him, and he disappeared in a teleportation circle. Naruto and Hokuto rushed home for Yuno and dropped her off with his number now in her phone and the numbers of her friends blocked so they can't see her, but in a way she could see them. What? Naruto didn't know how to do this for technology, but it turns out that his magic is capable of doing something like this on his phone. After making sure she was safe, he and Hokuto left the house and proceeded to their mission objective, a secret lab that was revealed in the documents they had located deep in Russia. Naruto did not know why, but he felt something weird was going to happen on this job. Next day, Sikaveria was rarely someone that got furious at things. She honestly was considered the most calm of her age group and the one that was considered the biggest strategist next to Sona Citri. She was also a girl in love with the man of her dreams, the ghoul child of the Lucifer family. But if there was one thing she was right now that was rare, it was pissed. Goblin Slayer and Kisame told her what the teens that she was asked to ruin did to the poor girl. From the information, they tormented her and tricked her in the hopes of killing her or at least seriously maiming her. Sikaveria might have been against killing the humans at first, but that feeling changed after finding out everything that happened to the poor girl. So, for most of today she was doing research on the kids in question and found out interesting information that was very useful to her. The boy named Yuki apparently was some kind of loner at school and was always on his phone or hanging out with the other kids in his class. Apparently he had some kind of friendship with 3 kids specifically, a jock named Kosaka, a girl that was the owner of the dogs named Hinata, and the final girl who was friends with Hinata, Mao. Each one had something going on either in the form of clubs, school activities, or personal lives that mattered very much to them. Setting things in motion, she smiled at the folder and thus sent it to her family to let her know what she needed done from their end. While they would normally not waste resources, her mother felt bad for the girl when she told her about the circumstances and how this is a favor to Naruto. Hearing this was all the parents needed to do to help the poor child in question. But Naruto did mention that she had some kind of power that allowed her to move through time for brief periods of time, and even manipulate it to a degree of what happened and what did not happen. This power intrigued her. She wondered out loud, I wonder if she would be interested in becoming my bishop? She heard a knock at the door and said, "It's open." Entering the room, she was not shocked to see Sona with her peerage and Rias and her peerage, including a cute Gasper and little Kirara. "President?" Sona sighed. "Yes, but please, it is just Sona, we are equals Sikaveria." "True, but it was funny to see your reaction." She smiled at the girl, then glared at Rias. "So what can the manga club do for you?" Yes, Sikaveria founded the manga club as a way to recruit when she wanted to and have a place of her own to be herself. While she might be a prime and proper heiress in the underworld, here she was just a normal girl who liked to read manga and watch anime. "We are here to talk about someone in particular." She raised an eyebrow and looked at Rias. "Is this about my fiancé?" She saw Rias bristle at this and smiled at her. She loved it that she could rub it in her face that soon Naruto's heart would be hers. Well, minus the other girls that would join their little love life, she would at least be his wife. What? Don't judge, devils tend to have harems, so it was not a surprise she was open to the idea of other female lovers. "Where is Naruto?" "He is out of town right now, apparently a mission from the Maos or something." Rias growled, but Kirara jumped off Gasper's shoulder and landed in Sikaveria's desk. She stared at her, and she stared back at the adorable Hellcat for a few seconds before she got onto her lap. She laid there and was looked at her with demurring eyes. "All right, you." She started scratching her behind her ears, earning purrs of joy from the fire-breathing cat. It got better when she found the specific spot on the back of her head that she liked, and soon started moaning from the feelings of her fingers on her scalp. To continue, "I don't know what the mission was, but it was really important to get it done as soon as possible. And we are just expect that is the truth?" Sikaveria glared. "If you like, you can ask your brother. Oh wait, you can't, as he does not want to see you still." This caused Rias to go stiff, and soon her aura flaring in the room, making Sona frown. Ever since Naruto left, she had been more temperamental than normal. She had admitted while Issei was cute, Naruto's dedication and love to her really won her over. Plus, Naruto truly loved her as Rias and not as some sex object or some heiress that one claims for bragging rights. Knowing this now and how much she fucked up, she wanted to make amends to her. "What would you know about this after all your sisters couldn't control that one rogue piece?" This made Sikaveria bristle in rage. "Want to run that by me again, bitch?" "Gladly." Sona, finally having enough, dosed both girls with water. "Calm down, both of you. Look, we know Naruto is out of town, which means he will come back sometime in the future. Please just stop it before you both do something that you both end up regretting." Rias sniffed, as if, "Be wary, bitch, I will get Naruto back." With that, she stormed out of the room with her peerage quickly following behind her. Sikaveria snorted at the posturing. "Just try, I will put you down if you dare." Sona sighed. Why did all of this have to happen while she is here? Russia. It took them a few days, but they finally arrived at Russia. From what Naruto could see, it looked like an entire town was built around the church, guarding it from what he could see, but for some reason he was not 100% sure. It was the people he could see. Something was wrong with them, and he couldn't figure out what. His senses were telling him that whatever was down there was not human in the least. Looking at the church, he could see that it was sitting at the top of the hill with the entire town between him and the front door. Looks like we are doing this the quiet way, Hokuto. Yes, Naruto-sama. She looked up. Naruto-sama, there is something going on. What do you mean? She pointed to the sky and he frowned. That's not normal. The colors of the sky were changing, lighting was raining down from the sky, and it looked like portals were opening in this world. What the fuck is all of this? Hokuto shrugged. I do not know, Naruto-sama. Will you punish me for failing you? Naruto sighed. No, I won't now, quit it. A portal opened next to him, snapping his finger. His eyes turned dark red and black and then grew one of his tentacles out of his back. Hokuto, get ready, we got company. Hi, Naruto-sama. The portal he could not see on the other side, but something was dumped out of the portal at his feet. 4 people landed haphazardly at Naruto's feet. 3 women and 1 man, who was underneath all of the women. The first person he saw was a young-looking girl with an eye patch on her face and a petite frame. Next to her was a dark-skinned woman with purple hair and gold eyes rubbing her ass from the drop. She had a distinct X-shaped scar on her left cheek. Yes, not a good landing. My boobs hurt a lot now. Indeed, Yorichi? The woman frowned at the other person next to them. You alright, Revel? The white-haired woman with the eye patch asked. Yes, I'm fine, Oboro, but I think Naruto-kun. What happened to you? Naruto raised an eyebrow at this and looked at the girl closely. Definitely Revel Phoenix, but something about her is different. Maybe it is her scent. Something about it is different compared to the one that I know. But how is that possible? There can't be possibly 2 of her unless Lady Phoenix had twins, which I doubt. I'm sorry, Lady Phoenix, I'm not that familiar with you. How can you say that we are married? Revel stated drastically as Yorichi Naruto's eyes shot out of their sockets and Hokuto's eyes widened considerably. Married since when? I barely just got engaged to someone from the Agars clan. Oh my head. Looking at the solo man in the group, he is shocked at what he sees while this man stood up. It looked like him but different, with a small piece of pink in his hair. Who the fuck are you? The man in question raised an eyebrow at him, and soon his own aura came to life. That's my question, asshole. I'm Naruto Lucifuge. The man raised an eyebrow at this. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Lucifuge was confused by this and walked up to him. Revel, Yorichi, Oboro, and Hokuto looked back and forth between the 2 Narutos, not saying a word, but were confused. You can't be me, we are nothing alike. The other Naruto agreed with this comment. Yeah, I mean, I don't have that big of a pole up my ass. Naruto Lucifuge drew a tick mark on his head and then said, I at least take things more seriously, fuckface. The 2 Narutos narrowed their eyes at each other, and then cursed. Fuck, we are the same person. Both looked at each other, and narrowed their eyes, knowing this is going to be a very odd experience for them.